On the first term of Gypsy Jazz, intro to Gypsy Jazz, I only gave you chords as necessary per song. This term, I'll be making a lot more references to the chord chart. So I'll just say, well, look at the chord grid. And I generally call that my grip chord routine. So Bossa Dorado, we have an intro that is also played as the outro to the song. Okay, and that's quite common. And then from there, the song is an easy AABA song form. And it's important that you know that, AABA. And so hopefully you have that chord grid in front of you. There'll be just a couple new chords for this song tonight. And there's an intro, which I'm not going to actually go over right now. That's a little bit too involved. So I'll probably have a video out there eventually on YouTube, or a couple of you are on Patreon, of course. So that will be all on there. But what I want to mainly cover is the melody and the chords right now. And then we'll see how much time we have left. Okay, so for this song, you're going to encounter a D minor chord. It's the first chord of the chart. So I'm just going to do a bar chord. You could do a minor 6, but I'm just going to do D minor triad bar chord. We all know that, I hope. Maybe you want to do it down open. Generally, I would avoid the open strings when doing rhythm because you don't want that ringy string. So the ideal shape is this shape here, D minor bar chord. D minor 6. Okay, one of those two chords. I have a 5th string root and I have a 6th string shape. You could even do D minor 7 if you wanted to. But it sounds a little bit more traditional gypsy style with a minor triad or a minor 6. Okay, and the next chord is E7. And I'm just doing that shape we used in Sweet Georgia Brown minor swing, the grip shape for an E dominant 7. So we have D minor, E7. Okay, now the new chord probably for some of you, E minor 7 flat 5. And on the charts, you'll often see it with the symbol circle line through it. That means half diminished, because a circle would mean fully diminished. So the circle with a line through it means half diminished 7th chord, aka minor 7 flat 5. Okay, so E minor 7 flat 5. And I'm saying the full name because on my chord grid, that's where I wrote, you're going to want to look at where I wrote C minor 7 flat 5 down here. And instead, play it here on the 7th fret, E minor 7 flat 5, okay? So again, that chord chart, what I call the grip chord, my routine there, we're not going to go through each chord tonight. We're just going to grab the select chords that we need to play the song. So E minor 7 flat 5 is this, 7, 8, 7, 8. Sounds like this. And that could be notated as E minor 7, then a flat 5, or it could just say E, circle line through it. That means half diminished 7. Same thing. Beautiful, beautiful chord. Django uses quite a bit. Django loved this shape. Okay, so next chord is A7. We all know A7 from Sweet Georgia Brown and, their songs that we've done. And then back to D minor. And then the turnaround is E minor 7 flat 5 to A7. And then back to D minor, which is now the second A section. Okay, so now we're going to get through that A section here. And I want to show you the rhythm, but basically we're going to do this first. D minor, 2, 3, 4. D minor, E7. E7. E minor 7 flat 5. A7. D minor. E minor 7 flat 5. A7. D minor. Now, I already want to share with you just one trick you can do to make it easier. Skip that E minor 7 flat 5 and just go to A7 on the turnaround. So only do just A7 for a full measure. So it'd be, now it'd be like this. 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, E7, E7, right here, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, and then here comes a turnaround, D minor, A7, and bow. This is always a little bit tricky for many people, learning the Gypsy Bossa rhythm, so I'm going to walk you through it. It's just right hand, and it's actually all eighth notes, and it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So it's going to be like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So just try to do that with me. And I'm just muting the strings to just be percussive, so I don't have to think about or worry about what chord I'm on. And this is a great way to practice. We could put on the recording and just keep rhythm. Okay? So this is a separate thing now. And here it is again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And we just want to keep that going. Okay, that's not the articulation quite yet, but that will get us started to play along with the recording. And the thing is, again, with these eighth notes, what I was saying earlier in the introduction, these are even eighth notes. They're not swung. So you don't want to shuffle it. You don't want this. Okay, if you can hear the difference. We want to even. So I'm really counting in my head. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Not this. 1 and 2, a 3, a 4, a 1. We don't want the... We're not doing that for this song. We want it nice and even. So let me give you an example of what it's going to sound like once we put it to the chord shapes. So, and notice on the second time there, all I did was just an A7. And actually, I did do a bar chord. So, it's funny, when you're playing the bossa style, Gypsy Bossa, you will see players do a lot more just bar chords versus just the 4 or 3 note shapes. And that's because it allows them to kind of move quicker and to keep that eighth note going. It's a little bit more percussive that way too, I believe. Here it is just a little bit quicker. So again, my right hand is just keeping those eighth notes really steady. But now, if you didn't notice, there's a backbeat on 2 and 4. So it's like this. There's a little click. You want to go through this motion like you're just clicking the strings. But yet it's still all eighth notes. If you didn't hear me, it would just look like my hands going 1 and 2 and 3. But with the articulation, this is where it's special. And notice again, I do like just that A7. So you'll see, I would highly recommend that you kind of watch rhythm players. Watch what they do at the turnaround. Do they do that E minor 7 flat 5, A7, which is called a 2-5 in the key of D minor chord progression. I'm kind of eliminating any theory talk right now, but a 2-5 chord progression. Or do they just go to the 5, just the A7, okay? So different players have different preferences, of course. See what works best for you. Really, honestly, it's going to sound just fine no matter what you choose. And that's the A section for the song. That's 75% of the song right there. So yeah, I want to get that down so that you have that much of it down. Do we all have the chords down? D minor, E7, E minor 7 flat 5, aka circle line through it. Okay, then A7, and then back to D minor. And then if you want to do the quick change, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, back to D minor. And I'm just arpeggiating it like this so you can kind of hear the beauty of these chords broken up. Okay, I want to try just the rhythm again with you slowly, and I want to see everybody just giving it a try. Just that A section. D minor to E7, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, that's a quick change there. D minor, and then the turnaround, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, or just to A7, your choice. And that's the first 8 bars. And then it repeats, but the second time, you just stay on D minor. You don't do the turnaround chord. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. E7. E minor 7, flat 5. A7. D minor. E minor 7, flat 5, A7. D minor. Loose wrist. We're just going to repeat this. A7 and back to the top. I just did that on purpose, the variation. E7. E minor 7 flat 5. A7. D minor. And I want to talk about when I did that quick change, because that was tricky. You got to go. So there's some anticipation. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. You're actually switching on the and to get there a little bit early. Did you guys catch that? I'll count it out slowly so you can see what I mean. You're on the and. Then those chords are, when you're switching chords, you end up on the and of the chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Okay, so that little click there, that percussion on 2 and 4, immediately that allows you to switch chords to be on the next shape, just by hitting that percussion on the and on 2, and then you're on the next chord. So the turnaround is a perfect example of that quick change movement, and with the anticipation, like this. 1 and click, and 3 and click, and 1. Okay? I'll do it very slowly and count it. 1 and click, and 3 and click, and 1. Okay? 1 and click, and 3 and click, and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay. How you guys doing? Do you have any questions on that? Pretty much a lot of chords. I'm going to just kind of walk us through this, and I'm going to load up Stocklow Rosenberg. He's the man for this song. One very important recording is live at the North Sea Jazz Festival. Here it is. And that's pretty fast. E7. E minor 7 flat 5. A7. D minor. Quick change. And back to the second A. E7. E minor 7 flat 5. A7 and D minor, and stay on D minor. I I always say that's the best practice you could do is play along with these recordings. So here we go, the B section, A minor 7 flat 5. This will actually be this will be a chord that we're going to use in nuage when we learn Django's nuage. So we want to make sure we get this flat 5 chord. It says on the chart again, A circled line through it. That again means A minor 7 flat 5. And I'm playing right here on the 6th string root. On my chart there, I wrote it out on G. So basically my chord chart, I have it written on the G shapes on the 6th string and the C shapes on the 5th string root. This one we want the 6th string root. Okay. So the tab here, if you don't know it already, 5, 5, 5, 4. And nothing on the 5th string. So it's actually, you could say 5, X, 5, 5, 4. No open strings. So 5, skip the 5th string, 5, 5, 4. That's A half diminished, or A minor 7 flat 5, however you want to name it. Now watch when you go to D7. Okay, and we're just doing that popular shape for D7. So we have A minor 7 flat 5, D7, G minor 6. I think we should just practice that again. A minor 7 flat 5, and I'm breaking it up so you can make sure that you hear each note nice and clearly. D7, G minor 6. And again, I'm going to analyze it here after we learn all the chords, just so you know what's going on. A minor 7 flat 5, D7, G minor 6. Minor 6, of course, is the first chord you learn from minor swing. So A minor 7 flat 5, D7, G7 minor 6. And just kind of say it to yourself over and over so that you get to know your bass notes. A, D, G. That's step number 1, is always map out where you're going with your bass line, and then put the appropriate chord, meaning the quality, meaning what kind of chord. A minor 7 flat 5. And I keep saying that because I know that's new for many of you. D7, that's not new. And again, that's from, you know, all the swing tunes, Sweet Georgia Brown, minor swing, that shape. And then G minor 6. And that's 2 bars. Now we got to go to E7 for 2 bars. And then E minor 7 flat 5 to A7. And of course, that will take us back home to your last A. So that would be called the turnaround there of the B section, which was the same as the A section. And that's actually a good trick. That's quite common. The turnaround on the A section, if it's an AABA song form, the turnaround from the first A will often be the turnaround at the B section. Often, okay? Just check it out. You'll see what I mean. And it wants to pull us to the last A, and that's why. So back to D minor. So here's the B section. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. G minor 6. E7, 2 bars. E minor 7 flat 5, A7. And finally, let's finish it out. The last A, E7. E minor 7 flat 5 to A7. And then finally, and then the turnaround. And then back to the top. And that's the first A. E7. E minor 7 flat 5. A7. D minor. First turnaround. Second A. And 3. 1 and E7. E minor 7 flat 5 to the A7 to the D minor. And stay on D minor. Here comes the B section. A minor 7 flat 5 to D7 to G minor 6. E7, E minor 7 flat 5 to A7. And the last A section, D minor, E7. E minor 7 flat 5 to the A7 and D minor. And top. And we could just do that again. Okay, that's a pretty slow tempo there. And at the slow tempo, you really want to focus on just keeping it even. It's a lot of stamina, just on those bar chords especially. And I say bar chords kind of loosely, meaning I'm not actually barring. I'm stopping here. I'm not actually barring because I'm not playing the first string. It looks like it, but I'm not. So it's actually not a bar chord. So I'm not really hitting that high A there on the first string. So I'm really just hitting these 4 strings. So it looks like I'm barring with my first finger, but I'm not. Okay? So it's really a 4-note shape. All of these chords are really a 4-note shape. The only time that it might not be is if I did the A7 as a bar chord, as a turnaround. And I would typically do that if I was playing it at a very, very fast tempo. And I would eliminate the 2 chord, like this. Just to show you that bar chord. Right here even. Okay. So, yeah, it's really fun to just dig in there. And I wanted to talk about how I'm holding the pick. I'm using a pretty heavy pick tonight here. And I'm using the side of it. I'm not using the point. If I use the point for this, it's probably going to fly out in my hand. So I actually rotate it to the side of the pick here, if not almost the butt end of the pick, just to give it what I always say, a swishy sound, like a snare drum action. And notice how loose my wrist is. And you can modify the amount of backbeat you want. Backbeat meaning 2 and 4. Do you really want to dig in there? Some guys like it, pretty percussive. You might not want it as percussive. Okay? Rhythm, because for this style, if you're playing Gypsy Bossa, you got to be solid on it. There's no, you can't be, you got to be really strict. You got to be just super metronomic. A swing, there's a little bit more fluctuating, but it's because of the subdivision. Because these eighth note, because you're actually playing all the subdivisions, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. On swing, you're playing just quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Swing is easy comparatively because you're just keeping the beat. 1, 2. If you can just 1, 2, 3, everything's just quarter notes. But here you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So you really have to get that even. And if you really want to get solid at that, my recommendation is to put on a metronome and just play along to the ticks. Tick, 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 tick. So, you want to speed it up twice as fast as what you think you're going to be playing, because those are your eighth notes. So if you think you're playing at 120, set it at 240. So it actually goes 1 and 2 and 3 and you're locked into every click. Okay, just so you're really accurate. That's to me what it takes to get really solid at playing rhythm guitar, especially in this style. Okay, I'm going to do a quick analysis here for you guys. We're in the key of D minor. The next chord, the E7, is the 2 dominant. Okay, that's not in the key of D minor. That's a secondary dominant. That's the 5 of the 5. So the 5 chord of D minor is A7. So this is the 5 of A7. Does it go to A7? Yes, but not quite yet. It goes to the 2 chord first, and E minor 7 flat 5, and then the A7. The 5 chord always wants to resolve back to the 1. and then the turnaround, 2-5. 1, 2 dominant, and then the minor, 2. That's half diminished. 5, 1. Now the B section, it modulates. Now we're going 2, 5, to the 4 chord. So now we're actually in the key of G minor. The first 4 bars is a modulation to the key of G minor. It's still related to D minor because G minor is the 4 of D minor, but for this moment, you should be thinking G minor stuff, improvising. And then it goes to E7, which is again the 5 of the 5, pulling us back to D minor. Back to D minor. And then E7, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, and D minor. And I'll show you guys this one chord real quick that I love to play. Instead of A7, you'll see me do this quite a bit in a lot of players. A7 sharp 5. So here's A7. You want to take this note and raise it a half step, so it's the 6th fret there. So here's A7, just plain old A7. Here's A7 sharp 5. And then D minor. A7 sharp 5. Beautiful chord. And it's that same note. It's the common tone between the D minor to the A7 sharp 5. Back to D minor. So I like that for some color. That's, as you probably already know, the dominant chord is where you can have a lot of color, fun with colors. Changes flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, sharp 5. You'll see that quite often in charts, but don't worry, we're going to do that a lot more this term, color up those dominant chords. But that's an A7 sharp 5. Okay, so you might see me do it like this. You'll see it, I'll yell it out. Right here. And then right here. Okay, and then back to the top. So I omitted that 2 chord, the E minor 7 flat 5, A7. I just did A7 sharp 5, D minor. So that's one of my favorite subs, is A7 sharp 5, just in place of the A7. Okay, let's do the melody here. And at this point, please have the tabs out for the melody. So this starts at measure 9. The first 8 bars are the intro. So you're actually going to look at measure 9, where it says D minor. Notice on measure 8, there's a double bar line, like that's the end of the section, almost like the end of the song, but it's the end of that first intro. On the D minor chord, we have this. And it's tricky, you gotta cross string, so it's really a good picking exercise. And now I am using the point of the pick here, because I want it to pop out at you. And not only that, I'm holding these 2 notes down to just let it ring into each other. You kind of want that ringy sound. It doesn't show you that on the sheet music. You have to, again, listen to how they play it. So just get used to doing that. Hello?
When you, with your right hand, are they all down strokes, or are you playing up strokes on the higher strings? With your right hand, are they all down strokes?
I don't know. I have to watch. Stocklow does all downstrokes.
No, what are you doing? I can't see what you're doing.
I'm doing down up.
You're doing down up, okay.
I'm doing it like a bluegrass player would do it, called cross picking. You know about that, Henry, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
So, but I would not necessarily recommend everyone to do that. The gypsy players are doing this. They're going down, 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 everything down. They do downstrokes as much as you possibly can. Most rock players, bluegrass players, don't do that. They go down, up, down, up, down, up for everything. So that's why I was saying, well, what I do might be different from what they do. I want you to do what works best for you. I'm not being super strict. If you're a fingerstyle player, you would do this. Like Mark Knopfler. It's actually kind of a bluesy style lick anyway, so when you hear the sound of it. As a matter of fact, Henry, let me just move my camera over a little bit so you can see my right hand a little bit more. Okay, but I'm going to experiment too. That's all down. One thing that you'll notice if you do all downstrokes, it's heavier. You might want that sound. I don't know. That's pretty. I mean, that will definitely be super loud, is what I'm saying. But this is not as loud. So again, that has some. You have to take that in consideration. If you want all downstroke, it's probably going to be heavier and stronger. Okay. Let's see. So hopefully you guys had that lick. Play it a lot. It's the main theme. It's the main, I'll say it this way, it's a main motif. Okay, we have this. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. And that measure 2 is tricky. So you're on that A. Okay, and there, if you want to watch me do it. Okay, so again, the beautiful melody, but it does take some precision with getting the right notes. So you might do this very slowly. 1. Okay, and notice that recurring rhythm. 1 and 2 and. This is very, very motivic. It's making use of these rhythmic motifs. Here it is so far. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. And that was a mishit there. And that's on measure 13. Let's backtrack one measure to the E7 chord. It's very, very similar to the D minor chord. The same rocking motion back and forth, but look at the notes. And again, experiment with your picking. I'm doing down, up, but you might go down, 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 down. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, I hope you all are trying it at home. Don't worry, we can't hear you for making mistakes. And like I said, mistakes are important in your development. So here we go, measure 9, the melody, the A section, through measure 13. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 3, 4, 1. 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there, I did not write a repeat. I just wrote it all out. Measure 17 is really the same as measure 9. It's just the same thing twice. So that's where you can just stop there and practice those 8 bars over and over. And again, you're going to find this will really work your technique. You're going to be like, I keep hitting the wrong strings. And that's okay. This is a great technique exercise. And again, you might just practice this. Just get accuracy of crossing strings, skipping strings, they call it. That's tricky. It's a very tricky thing. It's very beautiful, though. So again, it's really a beautiful motif that he's using here with this. The trickier licks are this, but what that really is just a little D minor phrase. It's almost right out of the D minor chord. This. As a matter of fact, you could even just hold this D minor chord shape and do this. Did you see this? I'm holding this little D minor, not the full bar chord, but just this much. I'm going. So that's one thing you could do if you really want to hold the shapes down. You can on this. It sounds really nice to have it be very ringy. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. Okay. And usually there's some fancy fills, but we can skip that for now, any fills. This lick is kind of chromatic and it's kind of bluesy. 1. I did a hammer on. Some guys like to slide. Kind of bluesy. 1. So did you hear the hammer? Or again, experiment with your phrasing, hammer, sliding. But that A7 lick there is this 1, and it starts on the and of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then measure 9. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. Chords. Measure 17. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1, 2. And that ending lick there that will now lead us to the B section is just slightly different there. It's 1, 2. And notice I'm adding a slide, I'm adding some hammers, kind of fancying up from what's written. Again, that's just to make the melody come to life, some vibrato. 1, 2. Okay, now that will lead us to the B section. But notice that everything else was the same twice. It's just that ending lick there was different. And I know that you are probably scrolling through the pages if you didn't print it out. Let's do that lick there on measure 22 on the A7. And then the rhythm's a little bit tricky. It starts on the and a 2. It goes 1, 2, and a 3, and 4, and 1. 1, 2. And if you don't want to play it here on the 10th fret, you can also play that A on the 5th fret. 1, 2. Okay, I like the slide personally, or hammer. So that's your A section. Should we do that again before we go on to the B section? And then we'll have the whole melody down. Then you guys can just practice the chords and the melody this week. And next week I'll probably begin with a little, the intro and maybe some other topics. Let's try that much through right up to the B section there. That was right where we ended. From measure 9, the A section. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 1. 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. 4, 1. 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, now we're at the B section here. And now it starts on the and of 4. It's a pickup note. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So the timing is tricky on this for a lot of people. It's on the and of 4 and 1 and. So I really suggest at this point you would count it off. And if I haven't already mentioned this, there's a metronome that I like to use. I don't have it set up. Maybe I can actually grab it. It's called Pro Metronome. It's free. It's an app. I'd highly recommend it. And if you get it, or if you already have it, use tone, the setting. You have to go to the settings, little toolkit, and go to the tone number 13, and you'll hear a voice do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you'll know exactly when to come in on the and of 4. So go 4 and 1 and 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the metronome will kind of just tell you exactly where you're at, because this part gets a little bit tricky. Not everybody plays the rhythm exactly. So 1, if you want to try to just follow along, so it should sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 4. And that's G minor. 1. Now to the E7. 3, 4. 3, 4. So thanks, guys. I will see you all next week. I would like to review this song, so please work on it this week. Obviously, we can't jam on it, but play along with the recordings. I want to go through and stuff, and it's live. I mean, the good thing about it that I would recommend getting used to playing with recordings is because of that X factor. It's not just clean like a computer. It's you have to interact, and you have to react rather too to whatever the rhythm section's doing, or even the soloist, depending on what you're playing. If you're playing just behind the soloist, you just want to lay it down and be solid. You never know what the soloist might end up doing. They might be out of time, they might be rushing, they might be playing wrong notes. But you have, as I'm just talking about rhythm guitar, you have to just lay it down. And be solid with your timing, no matter what. And that's the role of a gypsy jazz rhythm guitar player. That's the role of a rhythm guitar player in general. They're not there to kind of, be the star of the show. They're there to be super solid and to lay it down for the other person to be the star, the lead, if you want to call it. So again, that's very important. Again, the role of it. I want to just play through the song just once, and we can use a metronome, but we don't need it. We're just gonna kind of play it together. And if I need to, I don't know if I need to say the chords. You guys all have the chart there, and there might be some variation on the chords, or we could even review the chords if you want. If you're having trouble with the 4-note shapes, which we're gonna go over tonight, then you may just opt to play 3-note shapes, especially if you find yourself really loving the style, which I hope you are, and you want to play rhythm, especially a lot behind people. 3-note shapes, you'll be using them quite a bit, especially when sight reading new songs. Review on Bossa Dorado. This is really kind of just more for rhythm and for chord voicings and for the feel, the bossa feel. And again, we're going to omit the intro for this portion. We're just going to do this. And here's the second A. E7. E minor 7 flat 5, A7, D minor, and I did A7 sharp 5 by the way, A minor 7 flat 5, D7, G minor 6, E7, E minor 7 flat 5, A7 sharp 5, D minor, E7, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, D minor, turn around, and again, do-dee-do-doo, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, boo-bee-boo-boo, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, A7, first ending. 2, 5, do E minor 7, flat 5, A7, sharp 5, D minor triad. B section, A minor 7, flat 5, D7, G minor 6, E7, E minor 7, flat 5, A7, sharp 5, last A. Do 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 do. Da 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 do 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 do. Do 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 do. And that's the outro. I'm going to show you that. What the rhythm guitar player does. And then D minor 6 to end it. A little tremolo. And as I mentioned, I kind of rotate the pick to the side so I get that little swishy sound. If you don't do that, you have to be really careful and hold the pick pretty tight and dig in there actually too. But if you're using the point, it's going to be louder. So if you want that louder and more intense, then use the point of the pick. But if you want it kind of more soft and sensitive sounding, almost more moody, then I use that side of the pick, the rounded side. And I actually use that for rhythm guitar all the way through. This is faster, obviously. 1, E7. I'll just play it once through. You guys can, of course, play with me. D minor. A minor 7, flat 5. Notice the backbeat, 2 and 4. E7. Last A. And top. This is about stop-lows tempo. Some guys like to play it this fast. That's a second A. E minor 7, flat 5. A7. We're doing it fast. B section. E7. Last A. We're almost done. Outro. Little guitar here. A7. And that D minor 6. Or I've got a special chord to share with you guys that I like. D minor 9, like this. You know, I don't know, I like it a lot. It's a big stretch here. D minor 6, 9. Very moody. So that's D, F, A, triad. And then the 2 open strings. It's actually quite easy in concept. You have B and E. So it's D, F, A, B, E. D minor triad. And then you add the 6 and you add the 9 on. So it's called D minor 6, 9. So I'm going D, F, it's a big stretch, that's what's tricky. D, F, A, B, E, open. And again, I'm gonna kind of do this. You'll hear that quite a bit. That moody tremolo there. Sounds like strings, okay? So those are just 2 ending chords, just a plain old D minor 6 or D minor 6, 9 for a little bit more color. I want to show you guys that outro really quickly here. I kind of omitted that last week. We're not going to do what the lead player would do. But instead, we're just going to do the chords here. What I want you to think of is basically play an A minor chord on the 6th fret here. So it's D minor. So instead of down here, open A minor, just play it right here. And then, so I'll do it slowly. It's D minor now, by the way, because we slid it from A minor shape to D minor. Okay, so yeah, everybody have this, D minor triad. And then now, take this note and sharp it, so it's gonna be a sharp 5 or flat 6, you can call it if you want. And then go up one more to the natural 6. Well, all while keeping these two notes, the root and the 3rd down. So basically you have this triad, 5, 1, and flat 3. You're raising the 5th to a flat, sharp 5. On the chart, it might say flat 6, just so you know, D minor, flat 6, or sharp 5. I call it a sharp 5, augmented. And then D minor 6, and then back to the augmented. So you have this. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they wanted, that. But here it is with a little bit of rhythm. And then A, and then that D minor ending chord. And again, that's how I like to end the song generally, is to use that intro also as an outro right after the end of the melody. And then you would go right into the... And notice it's just a triad, so there's a lot of muting going on because you're only hearing 3 strings. You're only hearing these 3 notes. You're not hearing this string, well, you're not supposed to, or this string. So you had to really mute really well. You're only hearing these 3 notes. Okay, that requires a lot of dampening, left hand dampening, because I'm strumming all 6 strings. I'm not just being specific to these 3 strings. And that penultimate chord was this. That's just an A triad. And then the D minor, what your choice, D minor 6, 9 that I showed you? Or D minor 6, you know, a la minor swing there, plain old shape there. There's of course many other voicings that we can do, but we'll save those for later. Anyways, that's the intro and the outro as per what the rhythm guitar player would do, okay? Not the lead guitar player. The rhythm player would just be doing this. And then kick into the song. Actually, do-do-do-do. Did you guys get this? And again, it sounds like this if you were to break it up, just so you could hear the notes. And again, this is the ending, or this. Or if you're doing the intro, it'd be this. And now it's just a G, G sharp A, the chromatic. And then you go right back into it. So again, if you're playing in a band, be prepared to do that, because everybody does that as per Stocklow Rosenberg's version, even though it was written by Dorado Schmidt. But everybody follows Stocklow's recording. Okay, so do that once with me. Did you guys get this? That little triad, the little walk up. It's just major triad. So basically you have this D minor. And again, it looks like a bar chord, see? And sometimes I do this as a bar chord like this. But look at it, it's a pretty intense stretch if you do it like this. That one's not too bad, but it's the next one. So that's what I'm saying. Don't hurt yourself. It's not worth it. Instead, just do 3-note shapes, just like you're playing it down here in A minor, but now you're just on D minor. So again, it sounds like this. Here's that intro. Here's the intro. I already showed you the ending, but with the da-da-dum, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Right here. And then you're off into the A section. Okay, that's all I want to talk about for. I appreciate that. Today we're going to actually do some gypsy jazz soloing, and I'm going to talk about some of these strategies that I love to share. This actually came about from a private lesson that I gave yesterday via Zoom for a Diamond Tier member, subliminally. Bossa Dorado is a great gypsy jazz tune written by Dorado Schmidt, one of the classics actually in the contemporary style. I first heard it on the North Sea Jazz Festival, Stocklow Rosenberg Trio, just called the Rosenberg Trio, highly influential on me. That along with Force of Four, every track that Stocklow played. But there's only a few players in the world that can play like Stocklow. So, but we'll talk about some soloing strategies, nevertheless, on this song. But that's such a great recording to dig into. The North Sea Jazz Festival. I think it was recorded in the late 90s. I'm not sure. So anyways, we're going to look at etude number 1. I'm just looking at it here. This was prompted by my lesson yesterday. And I talked about some of the strategies that I like to use for soloing, not only on this song, but I'll talk about how to apply it to Swing Chaton, Lulu Swing, Exactly Like You, Take Day Train, Girl from Ipanema. The list will go on, Jersey Bounce, because this is like a common chord progression that you can use. But not only that, these substitutions you can use on any song. So that's why it's so fun and exciting to share, especially with those who are beginning to solo, but don't have the strategies mapped out yet. So it's kind of like a mystery. This will kind of just give you some shortcuts so that you can go right into sounding pretty good and playing the changes depending on your ideas, and execution, of course. So grab the etude number 1. I'm on my Patreon page. I just put this out. This will be it's a free PDF for you. You can grab it. This video may not be public for very long. So if you're watching it now, grab your guitar and learn this with me right now. And then it'll probably be posted on Patreon. Everything gets archived on Patreon. You can also join as a YouTube member and have access to all of my videos. You just don't get access to all my tabs and PDFs, which is on Patreon. So that's why I always recommend to join Patreon. And on Patreon, I have 4,600 Patreon exclusive posts and lessons. So that should keep you pretty busy for a while if you're digging in there. Okay, so here we go. Bossa Dorado etude number 1. Load it up. And it will look like this. I always show you what it should look like. And for those Patreon members, I posted the sound slice practice video that's synced up to my YouTube video from when I originally put this out there many years ago, about 10 years ago. So let's just talk about the Bossa Dorado chord progression first. We're in the key, and I'm not going to go through the basic melody and all that stuff. Hopefully you already know the basic tune. I always recommend that you learn the tune first, you learn the chord progression, then go ahead and start these etudes after you can play the melody and after you can play the chords and such. So, but we're just going to dive right into the soloing, the etude. So let's examine the A section. It's a beautiful chord progression. You have D minor. We're in the key of D minor, which is relative to F major, but really we're in D minor. It doesn't even have an F major chord in here. Then that's the 1 chord. Then we have the 2 dominant. And the 2 dominant is the 5 of the 5, essentially. So that's how you want to think of it. And that's so common. That is the 2nd chord of Swing Chaton as well. And then then it turns to half diminish, E minor 7 flat 5 to the A7, and then to the D minor. And that's a 2-5 going back home to 1. But my soloing strategy that I like to share at level 1 for soloing is to eliminate the 2 altogether. So you're only just going to go straight to that 5 chord, which is A7. Okay, so the rhythm player will probably play E half diminished, E minor 7 flat 5, because that's what the chart says, E half diminished, right? And that's fine, but for soloing purposes, you're just going to think A7, and that really makes life easy by simplifying. And essentially what we're doing is we're getting 2-bar phrases. Hey, Bob, welcome. Good to see you. Looking forward to our lesson coming up too. Gold tier. I do have a few more gold tier spots left on Patreon. I know many of you watching this probably are on that already, so I've got a couple left if you want to join in and work with me privately. So here we go. We've got D minor, E7, A7. This is a simplified version for soloing purposes. D minor. Okay, that's your A section. Again, I didn't even put the turnaround chord, the A7, but I'll show it to you with it just so you can hear the basic progression. And then here's the basic chord progression that a rhythm player would play. And of course, that beautiful melody. So here's the method that I'm going to talk about and work with you on this etude number 1 here. We're going to do some face value arpeggios, meaning just outlining. The term face value means this. If you see D minor on the chart, you're going to use D minor. No substitutions, no superimposing other structures. You see D minor, you play D minor. That works really well on the tonic, on the 1 chord. So here we go. We have D minor, and what I'm going to suggest is that you play D minor 6 for this etude. And that's what it's kind of about, is that you want to be able to arpeggiate. And not only that, this etude number 1 starts off right away with what I call the diagonal method. So I think this is a very, very important method to get down, especially in the gypsy jazz, if you want to be able to kind of blaze through the fretboard as necessary, So here's D minor 6. If you don't have this arpeggio, you can look at this chart that's right there on the lead sheet. On the etude. Okay, D minor 6 chord notes. That's what I like about this etude. It just starts really simple. Okay, that's for the D minor 6 arpeggio, right? And again, check out all my diagonal studies, because I have got a lot of etudes that really explore this, especially the swing chaton etudes. Those really explore the diagonal method even more. But just really basically, we got the D, F, A, and B. And notice my fingering. And then there I used all 6 strings. I even ended on A. So, but this etude just starts off really nice and easy, just helping you learn these arpeggio shapes. Okay, root 5th. That's what the diagonal method is all about. Please review my diagonal method lessons. Are on Patreon, of course, and on YouTube too. Now, here's where the strategy kicks in. The strategy. Okay, we go to the 2 dominant. This is where I always say the words diminish it. Okay, diminish it. So if we're on D minor and we just play D minor 6, we're going to diminish it. We're going to turn that to diminished 7. That's for the E7. And we can run the arpeggio. And of course, again, if you don't have those arpeggios down, you're going to want to practice quite a bit just mapping out the fingering, especially this preliminary exercise. Please grab my diagonal study arpeggio worksheet on Patreon. So we have D diminished 7, which is this. Okay, that's only 1 note different from the D minor 6. Here's D minor 6. Here's D diminished 7. We just flat the 5th. That's the only difference, okay? Very important to know that. Diminish it. Okay, so D minor 6. For the E7, we diminish it. Now for the A7, again, we're taking out the 2 chord, which is going straight to that A7. Now we're going to go down a half step from the D and go to the C sharp. That becomes the leading tone of the A7 chord. Okay. Same diminish, and then back to D minor. And that's kind of the first basic strategy that I'm really using here is the diagonal method along with the diminished substitution. So we have this here. This is as written. Please, again, if you're just joining in, please grab the free PDF, the etude here. I'm just sharing this with you all to get some ideas going here. And then, of course, if you like it, please do consider joining me on Patreon so that you can have access to 923 Gypsy Jazz lessons. Lots of etudes for you to have fun. And if you're enjoying this live stream, please don't forget to do that. That's all I ask, and I appreciate it. So we have D minor 6, as written. Diminish. Down a half step. And back to D minor 6. And that's measures 1 through 8, right there. That's the first 8 bars. D minor 6. Quarter notes, diminish it. Down half step. And back to D minor 6. Okay. So the turnaround chord, I'm just ignoring it altogether. I'm just focusing only on D minor. Of course, we can apply this stuff to where you're just thinking D minor blues licks, D minor Dorian, all that stuff later, D melodic minor. You don't have to necessarily play that 5 chord. So now this is A2 here on D minor 6. If you can grab the etude, I'm not going to show it, but we have this now. So now this is getting a little bit fancy. It's good for your technique and good for visualization. This is the D minor 6 arpeggio, but now I'm doing 8th notes. Okay, so now that it's using all 6 strings, and this is where you can just break this down to its own exercise. So you get the fingerings down of that D minor 6 arpeggio. But these are 8th notes. Okay. So that's for the D minor 6 on the A2 there. Measures 9 and 10. And then slur. Okay. And that's going to lead us to the G sharp dim. So on the E7 chord, before we did D dim, we diminished the 1, right? But now we're going to go to G sharp dim. And what we're going to do is this chromatic outline of the diminished 7. So here's diminished 7 arpeggio, but we're going to fill it in with chromaticism. Okay, so we have that dim 7 arpeggio, but we're going to fill it in with chromatic notes. All right. So, and then we're not going to stop there. For the A7, this is the part of the big strategy. You go down a half step to whatever you're doing with the diminished 7. Now we're going to do this. And then I go up 3 frets from there, following the diminished. Okay. So we have this for the E7. A7. Chromatic. Okay. And it makes a good picking exercise. If you want to just practice that too, that's for the E7 to the A through the A7, and then resolve to the D minor. Once we're on the D minor here, I'm doing this embellishment here. We ended right here on the 3rd. And all I'm doing here is just outlining the D minor bar chord. Just the bar chord, just going half step below each one of those chord tones. Such a great trick. Okay, that's for the D minor. And that's the first 2 A sections. That's half the etude right there. So it's so much easier again once you know the concepts, once you can break it down, to have strategies. Soloing in general, it's nice to have just a template in mind, some strategies laid out for soloing. You can still be super creative, still have a lot of fun, but that way you sound great. You playing the changes, essentially, especially in jazz and gypsy jazz. So type in the chat who's here, who's watching. I appreciate the thumbs up, of course. And that's the first 8 bars. I think we should just give it a try together. Okay, maybe I could even put on a little bossa nova backing track. Let's do it finger style for fun. And let's do those 8 bars together. Then we'll go on to the B section. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, Paul, good to hear from you. E7, A7, and back to D minor 6. Chromatic filler, half step. Quarter notes. We're just looping this. I saw Borelli play a strat, so I don't feel bad about doing a strat. If Borelli does it, you know, he... And that's the first 16 bars. Easy etude, right? Hopefully it will just kind of teach you some of these concepts. Lower neighbor tone embellishment, visualizing chord tones, diminished substitution, diagonal arpeggios. There's a lot of stuff going on. Chromatic filler to fill in some space. Let's go on to the B section. So now we got to analyze what's happening in the B section. On the charts, it'll often say A half dim, D7, G minor 6, E7, and then E half dim, and then top being the last 8 bars, the A section again. So again, the A half dim to the D7, that's a 2-5. So instead of doing the 2, like I mentioned, we're going to simplify our thinking. So we just go straight to the 5, and that's just D7. So when I think of D7, again, this is where I often say, please make sure you can spell. If I said D7, you say D, F sharp, A, C, and then E flat if you want that flat 9. So I go straight to that F sharp, and that's the diminish I want. I could also stay on A or C or E flat. We want to be able to visualize those starting notes for arpeggios. It's nice to kind of have a lead-in lick into those, however. Occasionally, the James Bond, I just kind of hint at it. So for that intro, so we got the second in here. I'm starting on C in this case, so definitely check out this here. Now I'm going C diminished 7, which for the D7, so what I'm doing here is starting on C. I'm doing that diagonal diminished 7 arpeggio with a sequence. And I resolve it. It's very important that you learn to resolve your diminished 7. There's nothing kind of anticlimactic as just doing a cool diminished run and not hitting the resolve. You know what I'm saying? So always practice resolving your dim 7 arpeggios and licks. Make sure that you can land on the tonic, or if it's another diminished 7, if it's a dominant cycle, such as Sweet Georgia Brown, that you can continue the loop. So we have this as a sequence. Here's the outline. Okay, that's what you want to be visualizing. This particular run, you can hear the pattern, hopefully. Okay. So again, it's hitting the same string twice. So it does this, and then repeat that. Repeat that. Repeat that. And then on this one string, the second string, I'm doing this. And that's just triad embellishment. That's this stuff. Going through G minor. You want to be able to visualize G minor and go. Maybe G minor here. G minor here. And visualize that chord. Here I'm staying on one string. Okay. So it really helps to attack it in any way, whether it's thinking vertically, horizontally, diagonally. These are all great things to practice on the guitar so that you can really master the fretboard, visualization of the fretboard, and not be stuck to just one position. You want to be free, okay? So that's where these etudes really come in. So again, on the C dim 7 over the D7, resolve. Okay. So that's the first 4 bars of the B section. Again, I took out the 2. I just go straight to the 5. So it's just 5, 1. I'm treating G minor like it's the 1 for this B section, because the D7, and remember what I often say, if many of you who know a lot of my repetition as far as phrases, I say when the 1 chord turns to dominant, that's what it does. The D minor turns to dominant, D7, that's going to pull you to the 4, G minor. So try to recall that, and then it makes soloing so much easier, these little strategies, because now you can say, oh, when I resolve on the 1, I go down a whole step and I can run and diminish. You learn these little patterns. It just helps. You don't even have to think anymore. That's the goal. It's just to kind of have these ingrained so that you can not think, go on automatic pilot, and just have fun and kind of know that it's going to work. So again, I do recommend not only do you practice Bossa Dorado, but you practice swing jeton, these same patterns and sequences. You can also then practice the major key songs, like I mentioned, Lulu Swing. It's the same progression. The Girl from Ipanema, Take the A Train, exactly like you. They all have the same chord progression as Bossa Dorado. The only difference with those songs I just mentioned is that they're in the major key. The 1 chord is major, not minor. Okay, so check out my etudes for those songs and strategies, and also for the Lulu Swing especially. So again, now we're on E7, and what I'm doing here, again, if you don't have this, grab it while you can, because I'm going to leave this one public for the rest of the day here on YouTube. Grab this etude. Of course, many of you are on Patreon, so you just have access to everything. I hit that E7 chord twice, and then I do what's called a pseudo-chromatic lick. You can do it with all 3 fingers in this case, or you can do it with 2 fingers. So I'm starting on the 3 here, G. It's like a good warm-up exercise. And I take it through all 6 strings. 3, 2, 1, open, starting on the first string. But I hit the E7 chord for 2 beats. I go 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay. Or you can do it with 2 fingers, a la Django. You just have to shift. Okay, it's up to you. And then from there, we apply the same 16th note idea, rhythm, and use this enclosure technique on the A7 chord. This is the last 2 bars of the B section, and we do this. So here's A major, triad, and so I'm going half step above, below, and then back to each one of these chord tones. And just go right through that A7 chord. So A7, the rhythm player, the band might play E half dim to A7, but you could just take off the 5. And then back to the last A section there. I'm going to show you the next part. I'm just breaking down this etude number 1. I feel like this etude number 1 for me as a teacher to help my students who are taking my Gypsy Jazz workshop classes in person before everything went online, of course. These etudes really help quite a bit. So if you're enjoying it, appreciate it. Okay, so we've got that down now. Type in the comments. By the way, I'm checking it periodically to see who's out there. If you're a Patreon member, I probably know who you are now. I think I'm getting to know my members. I really appreciate you being on Patreon. Such a great community. Okay, the last A. We'll just kind of get through this here. Now this last A section makes use of what I call the blues hack. It's such a fun little lick, a hack here. We take this D minor triad, and we do this pattern. It's just an intervallic pattern of the triad. A lot of the triads are crucial. Triads is my number one strategy for soloing, whether it's swing, rock, pop, gypsy jazz. Okay, that's actually number two. First is pentatonic. I gotta take that back. And then all these strategies. Graham, welcome. Thanks for joining in. And triplets work really well because it's a 3-note grouping. Okay, but let's not get carried away. Let's keep it really simple. So we have this. Okay, and then what I do here, even though you could do D minor, and I have an etude called the Blues Hack worksheet. If you want to learn more about that, just use it. It's also on my Caravan worksheet too. So make note of that if you're checking out. Like, ooh, I really like that hack. I love it. But now I go here. Okay, so I'm going shift, and now is the D minor. This. You can keep it going and just blaze through that and have so much fun with those notes. You do stuff like that, you don't have to just pick everything. You get slur it, whatever you want. Oh, sorry, got my visitor here. Oh, key to get it. All right, let's get, sorry. That was a first. All right, let's see. I got distracted by my cat. All right, you all there still? Thanks, Eric. It's trying to steal the show from me, I know. All right, so good to see you, Eric. Thanks for joining in. We're just actually doing my etude number 1 for Gypsy Jazz, which this etude I mentioned in my Patreon post. This is kind of what kicked off my whole Gypsy Jazz Bootcamp series, is this etude and my etude for Lulu Swing. Can you believe that? I mean, I wrote other things out too, but these were the ones I put out on YouTube about 10 years ago, for Sephora too. And they kind of just got things rolling for me regarding this bootcamp method. Okay, so we have this for D minor, and then shift. And then here we're going to kick into 6/8 notes. So really the idea behind this aspect of the study of the etude is playing with the rhythm, because I think it's really tricky, and you'll probably agree, to go from triplet, 1 2 3 4 to go from one rhythm feel to another rhythm feel. So that's what this part of the etude is about. It's about switching from triplets, 8th notes, to 16th notes. And then on the 16th note aspect of it, this is where I'm using chromaticism here. So I'm doing this. And that's still on that D minor. I'm just outlining the D minor triad. Okay, so that's all you need to think about is visualize D minor. And you get these great licks. Very chromatic, but you're really targeting the triad. And that's what grounds it, okay? Okay, so now I've got this etude is jam-packed, so that's why I wrote out the ideas here. I wrote the blues hack, and obviously you can see the triplet. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, Eric, I don't know if you're just tuning in, grab this free PDF here. It's linked in. Like I'm saying, this video may not stay on YouTube very long. It'll be archived on Patreon though, and it'll be archived on Tracy Kim YouTube member. But a lot of these don't stay public. As many of you know, all of these live streams get archived on Patreon and or YouTube members. So we're going through the last part of this etude. We only have 6 bars left. E7, I'm doing another cool aspect of this. I'm still using that diminished sub, but I'm adding in a scale tone to the harmonic minor scale. So on E7, the choice harmonic minor scale in Gypsy Jazz is A harmonic minor. That's what you want to play. You see that E7, you think harmonic minor. You think E7 is the 5th of what? A minor, okay? Even though it's going to go to A7. But still on the E7, that's when you play this. And you're playing that harmonic minor. Again, these are just scale That's what I call a scale fragment. But it's really just taking this arpeggio shape and then adding in the scale tone to the harmonic minor. Beautiful runs. Kind of sounds neoclassical almost. If you're a metal player, you might say, "Oh, that's like an Yngwie Malmsteen lick," which it could be, of course. So G, E7, we have this, and you don't have to do this triplets. I'm just doing this. Okay. And then on the A7, I do this. And again, that aspect of it is still the diminished substitution, but just another fun, creative way to do it. Here's A. Diminished 7 on E, C sharp, G, or B flat. Those are your chord tones you want to. But of course, getting that at a slower tempo, you want to get this gypsy picking style. To where you're sweeping up, down, down, down. So it's, so if that's new for you, that's a great diminished 7 sweep lick. Django used that quite a bit. And it's demonstrated and documented in a lot of his solos and a lot of my etudes, again, inspired by Django. So this etude number 1 is really packed full of concepts, strategies, techniques, and licks. I hope you're enjoying it. Now the last lick here on the D minor is kind of just a cool embellishment. I'm thinking this, we're done. We're almost done. So you guys did great. Hopefully you're learning this. If you're on Patreon, I just posted the sound slice too. So you can go to Patreon, of course, and practice with me on the sound slice and slow down and all that stuff. So it's just one of my first videos that I made actually that it's synced to. So here's D minor. So I'm going right here. I'm slurring. Okay, right to the E note, the 9 to the 6th. Okay, that might just take a little bit of time to get used to that. Okay, it's like thinking like an E minor. So you get those extensions, the 9 and the 6th degree, and then go to the. That's the 11. These are fun little slurs. Grant Green loved those. If you're a Grant Green fan, this will work for your. Grant Green would often do stuff more like this. Stuff like that. It's beautiful slurs too. So this is kind of almost like a Grant Green style lick thrown in as well. And then we'll finish it. Okay, and that's etude number 1. Why do that? And then, so again, this etude really has a lot of techniques, strategies, everything thrown into one nice, hopefully simple etude, good for technique, good for fretboard visualization, good for the diminished substitution. From here, I do recommend that you work on my swing chaton etudes. I also recommend that you look at my Lulu swing etudes and then start to apply these strategies and really just get them down. Go to minor swing, go to dark eyes. These are all level 1 songs where you're thinking 2 measures of 1 chord. And you can always simplify those 2 5s by just thinking the 5 chord. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. I'll see you guys next time. See you on Patreon. Where do I start the dim 7 arpeggio when I'm doing the substitution over a dominant chord on the flat 7? But it relates because if we're in the key of D minor and we have a 2 dominant chord, you take the 1 chord and you can diminish it. I love that. And then go down a half step, diminish still, and then resolve it back up. So it's a really simple and nice trick. You're barely even moving your hand. Gosh, I'm going to get off the screen share for just a second, just to show you this. Check it out here. And that's it. Diminish it. And I just flatted the 5th. So I know my 5th is here, so my finger went there. But I do often refinger my diminished. Okay. Those little licks, and at any point you can make it longer. And that was just a D minor arpeggio, this. You know, you could get as fancy as you want or as simple as you want. However, let's keep it simple. That's why I love the easy arpeggio method, because it's teaching you the concepts again, and then you can fancy it up as you work all over your fretboarding. Diminish it. Down a half step. Blues it. I'm gonna do this. And I'm down here. Now I'm going. Same ideas. So again, I'm just using the same concepts, but now I want to be able to do it all over the fretboard. Again, that's to me where I say, okay, now let's have some fun. I'm really not doing anything special or different. I'm just having fun applying it to the whole entire fretboard, because I've already I still need more practice, but D minor 6. D minor 6. D minor 6. I'm just showing you a few different places. D minor 6. Well, that's not a good place to show it. D over here. And then diminish it. You know, so again, you'll know where you happen to be at. But if you can say the trick as you're listening to the song, this is actually quite important too. For practicing, this is just the A section loop, by the way. Don't even play, just say it with me. Check it out. D minor 6. And then ready? What I'm going to say? Diminish it. That means D diminished. And then down a half step, and that still means diminish. And then back home to D minor. And then you can do a lick there, it's a turnaround, and D minor. Just again, kind of get your, and then diminish. Just kind of program yourself to think this way. Down a half step, diminish, and then back home to D minor. This is just on loop. And then you'll slowly say to yourself, you'll say D minor, diminish, down a half step, same lick, back home D minor, D minor, diminish it, a half step, resolve. And I say resolve, that means D minor. On here too, and then for that B section, remember it modulates to the 4 chord. If we're in D minor, that means G minor. Okay, so that often means that the one chord, D minor, turns to dominant. It's like I call it the honeysuckle rose B section. Actually, the one that's in major key, but same concept. The 1 turns into dominant, which is then going to pull you to your 4. And then you have the 5 of the 5, the 2 dominant, E7, and then the 5. And that pulls you beautifully back home to your last A, D minor. So again, we have D7, G minor, 6, E7, that's the 2 dominant again that we did earlier, in the A7. And then we're on the last A section. So let's finish this B section so you guys can feel like you have a good method of application of some of these arpeggios, licks, and ideas onto a song that's all the way through, not just, a section of it, which is very important. So I'm going to load up that chart again, and I'm going to walk you through the thought process on looking at this chart. So we already know what to do on the A section. On the B section here, remember we're going to do this. This is just setting us up for what we're thinking. F sharp dim. And I just said F sharp dim, but yeah, that means A dim, C dim, E flat dim, right? As long as you know they're the same 4 notes. And that needs to pull us to G minor. And you already know what to do on G minor. I don't need to talk about that. And then we have that 2 dominant here. And that's E. We're in D minor, the big picture again. That's why I said 2 dominant. And I'm going to do, which one do I want to do here? G sharp dim. I just went, straight to, we were just on G minor. So I'm going to go to G sharp dim here. I'm going to kind of think half step above. 2 measures. And then because I know it's going to go to A7, I'm ignoring this E half dim like I talked about earlier. And I'm just going to go half step below from where I just was, E7. I'm going to go half step below. So it's just going to be G dim for that A7. Before, above, we did D dim and then C sharp dim. It's the same 4 notes. And then that's for 2 bars. Everything is 2-bar phrases. And that's our B section. I'm gonna loop it. It's gonna feel weird because it's not gonna resolve to D minor, but for practicing, this is a good way to practice it. I'm just selecting it here with my finger. And notice that the changes, they actually put, well, I don't know if you can notice, that's not important, but they actually do have it written like this chart. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to have those half diminished, I call it prep chords. These prepare you to go to their 2, 5, 1. You could just think the bigger picture off the 5 chord right here. Instead of the 2, 5, just think off the 5 chord. That's what I was saying that's what Django often did, especially in his early years, is just simplify those changes. Here it is on loop, just to show you we're still at 140. But I'm just gonna say it to myself at first. F sharp dim. G minor, and that's G minor 6. G sharp dim. G dim. It's gonna loop, so back to F sharp dim. G minor 6. G sharp dim. G dim. And loop it. F sharp dim. G minor 6. Remember, stay in 1 octave at first. G sharp dim. You ready to try it? G dim. I'm gonna stay in only 1 octave right here. G minor. G sharp dim. Down a half step, dim. Back to F sharp dim. G minor 6. G sharp dim. G dim. F sharp dim. G minor. G sharp dim. G dim. F sharp dim. G minor 6. G sharp dim. G dim. F sharp dim. G minor. G sharp dim. G dim. G minor. G sharp dim. G. Easier pitch goes. G sharp dim. Down half step. F sharp dim. G minor 6. G sharp dim. And back down. And that's just the B section. That's how I like to practice. I don't try to go through the whole song right away. I want to master each section and then piece it together. Okay. You'll have better success that way. And then, you know, every time it comes to that B section, you won't just kind of flail. You'll really have it down and feel confident, feel good about having a method. F sharp dim. G minor 6. G sharp dim. Down half step. The blues, then. That was that arp. There I threw in that lick that we didn't go over, but this. There I combined both licks, quick lick number 52 and quick lick number 2. You know, there's this lick, D7. I'm just kind of, again, demonstrating some licks now, but D7. And then this, the add 9 arpeggio into kind of a phrase again, you know, then we want to piece these together to keep building your vocabulary of licks and ideas. But that was that. I'll have to do another etude for Bossa Dorado. Okay, but now I think we're ready to try the whole song nice and slow. Questions on the concepts, application, quick licks, or not quick licks, but arpeggios. Remember, 3-octave arpeggios are not necessary. I like to do it sometimes often in the gypsy jazz style, but in my normal playing, I don't generally run up and down 3-octave arpeggios. But it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of a stylistic thing in gypsy jazz to often hear more arpeggios in general. I'm going to go down to 110 so we can practice nice and slow. I'm going to loop the whole song, just no intro, no outro. Is there a question? Earlier, was every half diminished chord is also equivalent to a minor 6 chord. You just go up 3 frets. If you see half dim, just go up 3 frets and you play minor 6 or the same 4 notes. Wrong. I love, this is kind of, again, you'll see this more in my 2/5 licks or my beboppy style licks. I often do both chords. But in gypsy jazz, you'll find that I tend to simplify my thinking and focus more on runs and ideas and not necessarily trying to get every single chord change. But I love 2/5 ideas and 2/5 licks. So I do have a lot of those, again, on Patreon, a whole worksheets on 2/5 licks. And I'm always adding more via quick licks and stuff too. But I feel maybe at this stage, it's important to just see the bigger picture. We're going 5 to the 4, and then the 2 dominant, and then the 5. A lot of diminished arpeggios is what that means if we're doing this particular method. Are we ready to give it a try? Here comes the B section. Let's talk through it. F sharp dim, just like we did. 2 bars. G minor 6. G sharp dim. G dim, down a half step. Last A, D minor 6. Diminish it. Down a half step, diminish it. Whoa, bad loop. I didn't loop the last bar, sorry. The last 2 bars. Okay, guys, I guess we gotta do that all over. I don't know how that happened. From the top, ready? Just do it with me. I'll yell it out before we do it. So here we go, D minor 6. 2, 3, D minor 6. Diminish it. Down a half step, diminish. C sharp dim. And back come to D minor. D minor 6. That's the second A, by the way. Diminish it. Down a half step. And D minor, resolve. B section, F sharp dim. And resolve at G minor. G sharp dim for the E7. And down a half step, diminish it, A7. 1. D minor. That's a cliche. Diminish it. Down a half step. D minor. And to the top, D minor 6. Diminish it. Only 1 note changes if you're playing the arpeggio. Down the half step. D minor. D minor. Diminish it. Down a half step, diminish. Resolve. B section, F sharp dim. G minor. G sharp dim. Down a half step. Last A, D minor 6. Diminish it. Down a half step. And resolve, D minor. D minor, diminish it. Down a half step dim. Blues. Lick. Minor 6. You know I'm gonna say diminish it. Down a half step. Resolve. Leave some space. F sharp dim, get ready. G minor. G sharp dim. G dim. And last A, D minor 6. Diminish. Down a half step. Blues. Cliche. Diminish down a half step. I'm not saying it, sorry, I should. D minor. And to the top. Add 9 arpeggio. G sharp dim. Down a half step. Resolve. F sharp dim. Resolve. G minor. G sharp dim. Down a half step. Cliche. Diminish. Down a half step. Blues. Blues. Diminish it. D. Down a half step. Blues. D minor, add 9. Diminish. Sequence. F sharp dim. G minor. Cliche. G sharp dim. Down a half step. Cliche. Diminish it. Down a half step. I'll show you that lick. So one thing that I love to do that I'm going to stop here, but I hope you guys were jamming along with me. One thing that I love to do is on the when I say diminish, as long as you can get the right one. Remember, you have 1 out of 3 chance of getting the right diminish. But you can move your hand in symmetrical manner and just go da 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 da. You could do this. I'm going to do G sharp here. I'm going to go. So I'm going to diminish. There's my chord. And I'm just doing this kind of a quick, easy lick to just, not just a chromatic filler, but a little scale figure like this. And that's creating what they call the octatonic scale, the half whole diminish. It's symmetrical to go da 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 dum, da 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 dum. Bad singing, sorry. You try singing the octatonic scale. And then slide it 3 frets. get the idea. You can just move it around every 3 frets. And that's kind of a fun little lick. And you don't have to think about it. It just sounds cool. I think it does, at least. And it's completely symmetrical. So it's just, here I started on, I hit my low E, by the way, because I have it. And I went D. It's kind of just filler, is what it is. It's just filler to go 3 frets, 3 frets, 3 frets. Same lick, same lick. It's just, again, part of the whole symmetrical quality of the diminished scale, the 8-note diminished scale that is probably new for many of you. But it's just a kind of a quick little lick that you can do if you're into the symmetrical side of things. Anyways, so that was Bossa Dorado. I mean, gosh, I think that will get you through soloing. And the idea, the concepts here, of course, we want to apply this to any song, but all right, so D minor 6 face value. I'm gonna do it down here, and then now for that E7, we have 4 different diminished 7th arpeggio shapes we could use on the E7: G sharp, B, D, or F. Off the 3rd, 5th, the flat 7, or the flat 9. It's really nice just to stay on the D because you're already thinking off D, and you just diminish it. And that's for the E7. So, yeah, so play the D minor 6 arpeggio. You can just do it right here if you want. This is the 5th string group. Good. And then for the E7, we're playing D dim 7. You diminish it. Yeah, and you go. You go. Yeah, you go. And that's where we do these little phrases like, it's a flat 9, the darker. This is great for minor keys. This is Bossa Dorado, of course. And then on the, you said the next chord, you said is E minor 7 flat 5.
Right.
Which is what you'll see on the chart. But this is where I'm converting this minor 7 flat 5 to G minor 6. Okay. It's the same 4 notes, just a different renaming. Yeah, and you can do it here, or here.
Right, but we haven't learned the six string shape because you wanted me to stay with the 5 string.
Okay, in that case, we'll do, yeah, that's the point. And then we'll do it here. And of course, beautiful. And then that's, you can do, you could do that phrase. And Django did it like this.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it. This is the minor blues phrase. That triplet. And that'll be over this chord. But you're thinking G minor 6, and of course we'll do it down here too. So some players like to play G minor 6, and then they go to A7 for the 5 chord. So in this case, this creates a 2, 5, or a 4, 5. It's all the same. It's just a different bass note, essentially. So on the 5 chord, on the A7, so that's, again, on the chart, you'll see E minor 7 flat 5. But again, I'm just renaming it to G minor 6,
right,
as far as the arpeggio goes. But this is where it's still nice to spell these chords, E, G, B flat D, but then if you inverted it, G, B flat D, E, you'd have G minor 6.
Right.
Now on the A7, the 5 chord of D, again, I'm going to extend it already to the flat 9. So if we spell it, we have A, C sharp, E, that's your major triad, then we have the flat 7 and the flat 9. And it's the same concept. This is the diminished substitution. Off the 3rd, 5th, flat 7, or flat 9, you can do dim 7. So they're all the same 4 notes inverted. So, since we're just on G minor 6, we could stay on
there.
G.
Yeah.
So that's where we just diminish it. Same concept.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
isn't that amazing?
Yes.
So here you have this, diminish it. Only 1 note changes. And I'm doing a ton of chromatic licks, all that little chromatic system. That's where you can, you can chromatic it out. But what's nice is that you have the skeleton of this diminished. And this is for this against the A, which ultimately gives you this sound. You know what I mean? as a dim 7 arpeggio
Yes.
as a chord, but here it is, single notes. And then resolve to D minor 6. Or here. So I'm just kind of playing some moving two shapes essentially. This is I love the simplicity of this. D minor 6 here, D minor 6 here. Now this note is not the 6, that's the 9, but it's still really beautiful note. This,
Oh yeah.
that's my E. Here's it. So I kind of did this little hack, and I kind of stress this note because that's a 6. So seeing these formations are really important. That's a 6 or 6. So I kind of lean on the 6 here because I love that 6. Diminish it. There's E7, G minor. Diminish it. Here you go. And now, if you want to hit the 5 as a turnaround, that's where I go down a half step to the leading tone of the A7. The leading tone is a third of the C sharp, and then we could do dim 7. You could do a diagonal, or just stay in position, which is I can tell you've been working on that quite a bit, because that's the one that requires this.
Right.
It's tricky. And D minor 6. So you can go down a half step, and that's for your 5 chord. Similarly, you can go up a whole step because it's still an inversion. So if I had D minor and I went to A7, I just quickly went up. I'm not diminishing the 1 because that's for the 2 dominant.
Right.
But for the 5, that's the 4 diminished. So you can think of it as kind of the bigger picture. Like what key are we in? We're in the key of
D minor.
D minor. So you have the 1 and you have the 5 chord. But when you do the diminished sub, off the 3, off the 2, off the 4, and then off the B flat, which is the flat 6. I don't think of that one as much. But I mainly think of it as the leading tone, the C sharp, or the E, or the G. Why the G? Because we were just on G minor 6, or you have to diminish it in D minor. And reharmonizing by bass lines, but that's kind of where you get these cool sounds. That's D minor, by the way.
That's a D minor?
D minor with F in the bass. Isn't that cool? I got a whole new progression. This Bossa Dorado and invert. You can even diminish this Bossa Dorado with inversions. Check it out. That's a D minor 6, but that's B minor 7 flat 5.
Yeah.
That's very common. And again,
right.
this ties into Dark Eyes. Dark Eyes is another great study to work on, right? At the same time, because you have da 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 dee da, da 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 dee da. So, another good thing to do after you get your minor 6 shapes on the root is then, and I think we already started this, focus on minor 7 flat 5s. That's a minor, right on the root. So here's E half in minor 7 flat 5. That's a fully dim there.
Oh, was it?
Dude, start on E here. This is a 5th string root. Yeah, play the chord. E minor 7 flat 5. No, do that again. Do it again. And no barring is really needed, unless you want to.
Well, that's what's screwing me up there.
Good.
Because I generally do bar it.
And you can again. But then when you go to fully dim, you do this. It's nice to practice that minor 7 flat 5
Oh, right.
to the fully dim. Now by doing that, you're implying the 5 chord. Yeah, that would be over A7. So just by that one note changing, you are suggesting a 2-5. You're going 2, 5, and then D minor 1. You know what I'm saying? So just by doing this, 2, then diminish it, 1. And I'm gonna go here now too. You're playing the 2, but now I'm gonna go to G minor 6. I'm getting a little bit more liberal with the arpeggio quote. Like I just played D minor. I went like this, one of my favorite licks, and so many gypsy jazz players do this. So you have this. This. I don't know if you know this riff or not, but that's a D minor 6.
D minor.
So you just do this. Chromatic. Or you can start with this. So here's that D minor triad.
So you're playing chromatic down to the D.
To the 6.
Well, right, but what you just played, you were playing chromatic. On
Oh,
the
the chromatic to the D. Yes, exactly.
And then you played like
yeah.
This note and this note.
Yeah, so let me talk about this. This is D minor triad, right?
Yeah.
1, 5, and flat 3. So this note is the 9.
Yes.
Beautiful. Listen to it with the D in the bass. This note is a 6. We love the 6 on a minor. This note is the 11. It's kind of bluesy. You know,
Okay, so it's like a 3.
You know that riff?
Yeah.
It's kind of just bluesy, the 11. It's not the 3 though, but it's above the flat 3, right? So it's often called like a suspension to go dee-da, play it as a chord melody, just how pretty it is. Dee-da. It's a nice disco. But here, the little chromatic and I had to do it this way so you could hear the full chord, but that chromatic note in between, the chromatic passing tone, listen how nice it sounds. You go dee-da-dum. Sorry. What else is in there? Dee-da-dum. And same thing here. Dee-da-dum. Yeah. And same thing here. Don't focus too much on the middle note. That's a passing tone. It's meant to create just tension. That's why the word is passing. However, Django would often bend that middle note into the upper note above it, half step. So, you know, if you want to bend notes, those are the ideal notes. Yeah, you'd bend. Yeah, you just bend half step. He'd go. So you can bend into those color notes. That's the 9, that's the 6, and that's the 11. So basically, it's just thinking E minor, D minor, E minor, D minor. It's like playing modal music. E minor, D minor. But then you get this. See, passing. You get this. You're not gonna hang on that unless you want to bend it up into. You know. Similarly, you can do this. You know what I mean? It's really slippery, but mainly it's the target note. That's why all these little embellishments, if you visualize this, you go, then I went like this. It's embedded in here, but you get, you're really pretty in this. That's like going like this. But I went single note. But if you hear it as chord, so these little licks, that Django did that quite a bit, this kind of falling motif. But I'm showing it to you with this shape here, but I'll go back to this shape. So what's important is that you really visualize this, the D minor triad, and then you can get the 6 by doing this. Similarly, here's the 11. Yeah, just by foot. Yes. Yeah, and here's the 9. Yeah, the 9 is beautiful. Nice. See, that's nice little phrases and motifs. Yes. And again, you know, you can't really do the arpeggio. We're almost basically creating a scale. We're one note away. I always say we're one note away from the Dorian mode in this case. That's the Dorian mode. But you're not even thinking that because you're just thinking the triad shape. Yeah. That's Dorian. Dorian. D Dorian. But you're thinking this is a triad with the added notes. Oh, now that's changing the mode color if you do the flat 6 there. But
Yes.
if one more note, you can get the melodic minor by doing this. And that's now D melodic minor. So I'll start here on D. And then so. Yeah. Da, that's this chord. Yeah, it's a sharp. That's a sharp major 7.
Yeah.
Da, that's this chord. It's beautiful. But by doing this little riff here, we don't have the flat 7 or the major 7. We're safe from determining that quality. But we have this. We do have the natural 6, and the natural 6 is great on a minor sound. So again, this that I keep kind of reiterating this, that chromatic here, here. You know, and it's the same idea. We're going up. We're going one note above the triad notes, and the beauty of this particular lick is that it's symmetrical. The finger, you know, you can see it here like this.
Yeah.
So, and that's over D minor 6, and of course, this is can be played over a dominant chord, G9, because you could play D minor 6. I always say, this is what I call the minor conversion. The D minor 6 chord is embedded in the G9. It has that, so you can do all these little D minor licks. But the band's playing G9. And then G9 wants to probably go to C9 or C7. It might be a cycle. Or G9 might just go to C major 6. So you have C major, G9, and that was a D minor lick. I'm just thinking D minor stuff against the 5. Now of course the band might go 2-5, 1. And then you still have you only need to worry about that 2, the D minor. But then you could diminish it if you want to imply the flat 9. And then, so I'm thinking D minor, diminish it, and that's for the G7 flat 9, and then C major. And then maybe C sharp dim to imply the 5 of the 2, which is the A7 chord. And then back to D minor. D minor, diminish it, and then C major, scale. That was just a scale. This scales are nice too. Right, check this out. Diminish, D minor, diminish it, pattern sequence. And then C major 7 arpeggio. Those arpeggios are really nice. That was a major C major 7. Yeah, it's really pretty. Just you get again whenever you think with chords, it's nice to be able to do it with arpeggio. So if you like that sound, that's a C major 9. And then diminish that. So I'm really just using 3 arpeggio shapes. Minor, I'll say minor 7, minor 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's minor. I say minor because if you do this, that's minor 7, that's minor 6. It's not, you can vary it up. And I do always say practice minor 7, minor 6, and then the diminish. And then we got to resolve it. That's where C major comes in. Unless you're in a minor key, then it'd be C minor. But now you're back to your minor. So again, you can do so much with that, just being creative with connecting those shapes, those sounds, and keeping it really simple, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Navigating the changes. So whether you're in a major key song or in a minor key song. However, going back to Bossa Dorado, the strategy is just now. Minor 6, diminish it. G minor, I'm gonna go up here. This is G. Diminish it. And then back to D minor 6. And then for that turnaround, if you want to catch that 5, turn around. And then back to the top. Here it is just 1 octave. It's nice just to simplify. You don't have to go through 2 octaves. G minor, I'm gonna go down here. Now here. Diminish it. I'm just saying only on the top 3 strings right here. Diminish it. Blues. Diminish it. Okay. And here. Blues. Yeah, I'm just practicing the A. I'm gonna have you do it in a second. But now throw in some other, G minor. Diminish. D minor. Yeah, just really, it's just, again, it's the concept. You could have a lot of fun. You keep it really simple. That's why I just went like this. Diminish it. G minor, where am I going to go here? Diminish it. D minor. And then, your turn. 1, 2. I'm going to help you by kind of just saying it aloud with you. But I do recommend that you have these pillars. D minor. Yeah, can you just stay in 1 octave too? I think like what I was doing like this. Right? That's the pillar. That's pillar 1. Pillar 2 would be G minor. Let's go. Let's do it down here. I'd like to see you do it here. Is that okay?
What is that?
G minor's right here. G. Yeah, good. Do this. That's a triad. Good. And then the 6 is always a whole step above the 5th. Yes. Yeah, so the triad is what's important. And then we gotta diminish it though. So we gotta do this. I noticed the refingering too. I went like this. There's those little passing tones. Yes. You know what I mean? You get slippery with that. And then we gotta resolve it to D minor. Where do you want to go? How about back to where we started? Oh no, how about lower? Yeah, that's 1 octave. It's nice to keep track of it that way. And then we're gonna go down a half step. That's the nice, yeah, the implication of the 5. The dim 7, of course. So whenever we have a dominant, we're thinking diminish. Yes, you got that? Let's try it again. D minor 6, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're gonna diminish it. G minor, and diminish it, and D minor resolved, and down a half step there. That was that lead. So if you did that's kind of why I want to stay just 1 octave, because that way you could really keep track of. Diminish it. G minor. Diminish it. D minor. And diminish. D minor. And I start here. That's a diminish. So I'm often thinking these formations. And then D minor. Again, it's just all kind of in these chord shapes, and I really wasn't thinking a scale though. I'm just thinking arpeggios. It's so heavily arpeggio based. But I think the thing is just to keep saying to yourself, D minor 6. Keep it simple. And then diminish it. Yeah, you remember good. You have to work out those fingerings. G minor 6. Oh yeah, if you want to. Yeah, I like for you to get those easy arpeggios down in different starting points. So G minor 6 here. You'll still connect it so you do the whole, you know, 6 strings, but good. And then diminish it. Good. Work out your fingering. Yeah, that's for the A7. And then D minor 6. You're gonna do it really slow. And then don't even worry about the 5. Oftentimes what I like to do is just play like a D minor blues lick. Do 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 do. And then just some, I just like to kind of, something really simple and catchy to bring it on home. And then I don't worry about the 5, just let the band play, and then I start back on with the top. Yeah, if you want, then you can do this. Those are great, the diagonal's a great connector. Yeah. Continue, let's see that diagonal arpeggio. C sharp. Now we'd be up here in the D minor 6 land, if you know what I'm saying. So now, and that's where you might, there you go, there you go. You can bust into those type of phrases, nice. And then diminish it, and then diminish that. Here's D. Use your first finger there. Now do this lick. That kind of just gets you started on the diminished run arpeggio. Ooh. There's that little small diminution. And then G minor. I'm staying in that position there. G minor 6. It's this triad. Yes, G minor 6. Add the 6 on. Beautiful. Diminish it. Good. Yes. And then D minor. And do this just for fun. Visualize that triad. Yeah, half step, lower neighbor. Go half step.
Lower neighbor.
Yeah, lead us. So again, we're mixing and matching some arpeggios, like, you know, the face value. But also it's nice just to kind of mix and match just simple melodic ideas. Or this. Or this. Blues. You know what I mean? Just to have some variations on maybe the ending riff. Otherwise we could be a little bit more textbook. Minor 6. Diminish 7. I just diminished it. G minor. G diminished. Blues. Diminish. G minor 6. I'm always thinking about diminish it. Blues. What was that? That was the, you know, those little speedy riffs. And then of course this, you can even throw in those little chord sweep picking thing, because you know you're taking the D minor, and then here's a diminish. You're diminishing, and of course I'm using this shape. And then for the G minor, diminish it. Diminish. G minor. Diminish. And D minor. So again, however you want to treat it, it's nice to have a strategy. That's what I'm always saying.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the pillars, by the way, I don't know if you caught that. The pillars are the D minor and the G minor. 1 and the 4. 1 and the 4 for this, you know, for this particular song, but it works also in the sister brother key, the major key. Where we were talking about Lulu swing. I don't know if, you know, that's kind of, we start with that. It's the same progression, but it's D major, E7.
Yes.
G major, G6, or E minor, 7, not the flat 5, which is G6, and then A7, or I think they use tritone sub, for that song.
Oh, yeah.
But tritone sub, they still share that same diminish. So you can still use those diminish, and then back to D major. So again, that's a good complementary song to practice Lulu swing or that A section at least. But it's also Take the A Train. It's also Exactly Like You. It's Girl from Ipanema. You know, I always say it's a whole bunch of songs. It's a very common progression. And also, this is Swing Chaton, just so you know.
Oh.
So if you the first
Okay.
A section is Swing Chaton. If you want to apply it, then you can move it over to that song too. So 1, 2 dominant, 5. You know, you can still just navigate through it. So again, when I was talking about like kind of these structures that help you think of it, D minor, G minor. That's 1 and the 4. And when you start with 1 and the 4, and by the way, they're a fourth apart. So you keep it really simple. But then we want to work in the diminish. Diminish it. 4. Diminish. Back to 1. You know what I mean? You don't have to, and I'm just demonstrating with the arpeggio so you can hear the chord. But I could just said D minor, the 1. Diminish it. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And then 4, diminish it. And back to 1. And the 5 would be here. See, that's the half step below, and then back home. So this is a good thing to practice that I recommend. Just do chords like this. Diminish it. The chord, and then G minor. Diminish it. And then earlier I showed you this, but here's just D, that was D minor with the F in the bass, or you get even to B half dim. Oh yeah, that's pretty epic.
Is this a D minor? Is this right?
Yeah, you just take, that's a D minor triad with F in the bass.
Are you sounding the A note?
I'm not. You could, but you could even get that. Like you can't really. We could maybe get the B in there, the 6. But no, I'm just doing. This is just a triad, but with the 3rd in the bass. But again, this is kind of what I'm thinking is D minor 6. So now with chords, D minor 6 up here. Diminish it. This is your next study, chord soloing. So you got D minor, 6, diminish it. Yeah, I'm using all 4 fingers for that. Yeah. Now I could work you on the inversions, but I'm not going to. I'd say slide it down to G minor 6. That's easy, right? Yeah, same shape, and then diminish it. They're the same note. The root's enough, and then back to D minor 6. Yeah, I mean seriously, that could be if you're playing swing, especially. You know, you go. You know, I just went D minor, add in some rhythm. Diminish it. G minor. Diminish it. And D minor 6. Yeah, oh, sorry, back to here. Yeah. And on that, when you do the G minor 6, and you diminish it, guess what I'm going to do? Yeah, the little 4, the walk up, the 3 fret inversion trick, and then back to D minor 6. So again, that works really nicely for chord soloing, even just one shape, using the diminished. See how I'm adding that note? You can just add this note. You can add on those notes just like you're embellishing. D minor there. There you go. Diminish it. That's for the E7. G minor down. Quick change. Diminish it. And D minor. Diminish it. G minor. Diminish it. And D minor. Yeah, D minor. Diminish it. And G minor. Diminish it. Yeah. So just doing this alone will help get the sound in your head. And then you can bust into the single notes. Because because you're thinking it. D minor, diminish it. Oh, D, yeah. And then G minor. And then diminish it. Quick change. And then resolve. D minor.
Well, I think it would be helpful if you showed me the minor 6 arpeggio on the 6th string.
I think so too, but again, what I was saying earlier is that I think a lot of players try to do the 3 octave because that's essentially all 6 strings. But I really just recommend that you take in little chunks because that's all we're doing is connecting them. So what I mean by that is here's D minor 6 here, back to D minor. That's 1 octave. Here's the 2nd octave. And then you piece it together like this. So let's do the same with G minor. What I'm gonna show you is start here and do this. Yes, nice. That's a big stretch. But you know that note because you're visualizing this. And you know that's the 6, so you gotta get there. And this is the triad, 1 flat 3 5. Do that again. Just lean on that. Yeah. And I was saying lean on that note. Do that note. Do like play this with me. Yes. Do Yeah. Now I know you're really hearing and focusing on the 6. One more time. Good. This is the important heavy lifting that you really do that a lot. Ready? G minor 6 up an octave right here. Oh no, don't change your finger. Don't lose your don't lose this shape that we're in this bar chord shape. So now you get now you're gonna start here on this G. We did this earlier. Alternate. A little bit slower. Yeah, oh, by the way, just, use your octave method here that you know this is G and this is G, just to quickly grab the next octave. So that's 1 octave. Here's the 2nd octave. Yes. And as we were talking about earlier, you could do this. Bend half step below the chromatic note into the 6. That's a beautiful note. And again, that's where it's changing. Yeah, the half step bend. Yes. So again, you're targeting that 6. And in this case, just for fun, we can hit the open E. Unison. So Jang, I do that often. Chromatic, and here's that 6. So I went like this. Chromatic. That's a great lick. Do this. Chromatic. Arpeggio. Chromatic. Walk down. 6. Chord. Oh yeah, sure. Good. Exactly. See, now you just had a great line. You went like this. And then you're gonna learn. I know it's new for you. This could be used on C7, C9.
Sure.
Like you're playing Limehouse Blues. That's the minor conversion that you're thinking G minor ideas.
Mm-hmm.
We're not being strict to just the arpeggio, but we have a chromatic. But it could also be on C9. You know what I'm saying? So that's really useful, these minor 6 ideas or I keep saying minor 6 ideas because it's not just a strict arpeggio, but you know that you're starting with the arpeggio this as your framework. I didn't mean to go to the octave, and then next octave, and then the next octave will be here. Let's see. But I just do this. You know what I mean? So if we're here, 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves. Same shape, almost the same shape. But you know, you don't have to do that. And the other thing to do if you wanted to get from here to here, diagonal method. I think we've done that before. Just like you do the diminish. This is diagonal minor 6. Yeah, do this one. Stop. Do that again. 1 flat 3, 5 6. So it's just crucial that you think 1 and a 5. That you try with this fingering. Shift. Yeah. Yeah. This same notes. If I didn't look at you, I probably would not be able to tell that you're the foot fingering you're using, right? But because we know we want to get from here to here, we're gonna do this. So the art or the trick is this: root, 5th. You know I'm gonna say this. You've done this before with me on the diminish. Root, flat 5, root, flat 5, root, flat 5. This is root, 5th. Perfect 5th. And then right underneath the octave, root, 5th. Same distance, yeah. And then right, not underneath it, you have to move up a fret, root, 5th. Now I'm not watching you, but you gotta use your first finger only for this.
Ah, okay.
So I know, now you gotta do this, watch. This is what I call the preliminary study, yeah. With me, yeah. And take here, and even going back one, no, that's okay. Going back one more, do this. G, and go to octave G. Skip the 5th. You can visualize those octave and G. Good, and first finger is ideal. Do that again. Root, octave, and next octave. Go backwards. Now add the 5th in. Root, 5th, root, octave, right? Yes, so root, 5th, root, 5th. Use your first finger, root, and 5th. First finger. All these are first fingers.
Sorry.
Because we're gonna do this. And then, so on the root, we add a minor 3rd to make it minor. And then on the 5th, above the 5th, we add a whole step, the 6th. And then we take it up an octave. And this is what I call the diagonal method. Yeah. It's symmetrical, it's beautiful. And don't worry about descending. Okay, yeah, if you want to. But I would just do this again. And then, yeah, take it at your own. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit trickier going backwards. I would recommend that you still just do this. And then, but don't, you know what I mean? Like go up and down with that first finger as that diagonal skeleton. Yes, do that quite a bit. But now try this, diminish it by doing this. And now you're flattening the 5th, yeah. There you go. See, so what we want to do is minor 6. Diminish it, and that's G minor A7, and then D minor, and then you do minor 6 there. But that's the diagonal method, just because I think that's important because so many guitar players love to do this, Django included.
Oh yeah.
So why not do it with minor 6? You know what I mean? And major 7 is also very popular, but you'd start on the major, on the 7. Same, it's just kind of the symmetrical fingerings. Minor 6. Diminish. But again, that also, you have to, this is really nice as a connector to get you into the next position. So, but right now I'd say just stay with position playing G minor 6, G minor 6, diminish it. diminish it, D minor 6, D minor 6. And then, of course, if you want to, diminish. I'm not even going to the first string. It's nice just to hang on at 6. Diminish it. D minor. So again, on D minor, I know you know that one, but now you have G minor here. Diminish it. And now this is Bossa Dorado. So we have kind of an etude. Diminish. I went diagonal there. So if I did this, where am I going to go? G minor 6. Diminish it. D minor. Well, you know, just as a closing lick. That way. And then now we'd be at the B section for Bossa Dorado. That was just leading down G minor. It's really a beautiful pattern. I want to show this to you. I'll show it to you next time, but I'll show it to you briefly. We're recording as D7. Start on F sharp dim. G minor, G minor. E7, G sharp dim is A7 back there. So it's chromatic. You got diminish. This is what I'm just going to show you with chords. B section. I'll do it up high. D7, G minor. G sharp dim for the E. And down to half 7. You can do it everywhere. D7, G minor 6. Diminish. You can see how fun it is to practice with chords. Diminish it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's super fun just with a very small amount of material. That's the beauty of it, is that you're not overthinking it if you can get those shapes down. And then, of course, those little triad licks and embellishments that we're also my go-to. So if you have a D7 chord, I'm thinking off the 3rd.
Right.
I go right to the 3rd. That's because why? D7 usually wants to go to G minor.
G minor.
Well, or G major, depending on what key you're in, but we're in a minor key song, Bossa Dorado, of course. So, so D7, I go right here. I do this lick. Take the A train, like. So if again, that'd be major. So I just do that quite a bit, and then there, that's where I've run that arpeggio. Yeah, that's my go-to thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna do diagonal. So if you stay doing it in one position, you have to figure out where do you want to cross over. Do you want to do this? Go up 2 strings diagonal like this. This is kind of what I do actually recommend because it makes the stretch a little bit easier. And again, this is starting on the 6th string diminished now. So I would recommend doing this. And then from there, cross over, you know, it's D, F sharp was the same as D, or C, diminished 7. So if you do this, and we've already practiced the 5th string diminished arpeggio, so you have this. Carefully, yeah, finish that there, so, yes. So I'm gonna hit the D7, you can do this. You gonna do that nice and slow with me for practice? How about this tempo? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and it's a crossover. Is that? Yeah. Right now you're kind of just a little unsure, but just do. This is a big stretch.
Yes.
But that's you don't have to do this. But I'm kind of visualizing getting my hand ready for this. And this is the crossover. That's what I'm talking about, with the crossing strings, because you have adjacent strings. And then here, 3 frets, which are on the same string. Yes, and I'm thinking this shape. So again, it helps to do this as little practice studies, so you don't have to think about, you know, like what's that shape? You just do this, and then from there you have this, and from here you have this, you know, and then this. Yes, and just, I would again, yeah, hold it as a chord shape. And that's for the D7 F sharp. And again, if you really wanted to practice, you could do this. So I'm just going up every 3 frets. I went up this way.
Oh, right.
Quickly, shift. Good practice, shift.
Oh.
Yeah, do you want to do that once with me?
Yeah, let's try to do that.
Or do you want to just stay in one position first? Let's just stay in one position first, up and down. Then get a stretch. It's just 2 frets each. Yeah, it's minor. These are all minor thirds. And then, yeah, and it's just working out the fingerings. Yes. And go up one more. There you go. And then descend. Nice and slow. Good diagonal there. Again, 3 and 4 and. And it's just, that's okay. No, I just recommend doing this for a second here. Just, I think that's it. That's where you're not used to. And it's a big stretch, so it's not very comfortable, but it's actually easier than doing it here. I find it to start off with the diagonal, and then you do the 5th string diminished 7 arpeggios in this one position here. But you can even try doing this. This is where you want to decide where do you want to cross over if you're not going to do the full diagonal. See what I mean? There I did 3 strings diagonal, and then I decided to cross over here. But that got me also to a higher range, so I'm no longer in the position. But if your goal is to start on the F sharp here and end here, that's in position, then I would recommend crossing over here. And then you have the diminished 7 or the D7. That's what it's a sub 4. And I'm hitting D7 for practice. And G minor 6. And there I did G minor 6. All in that one position, just so I could play. And then, well, we're hitting Bossa Dorado, but then it goes to E7. Then it's the same idea. I crossed over there, but
so that's a G sharp.
G sharp dim for the E7. It's going up chromatically. This is what's so beautiful if you follow this little strategy. Yes, beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want to go through that a little bit slower with you. Yes, nice. And then the A7 would be the next chord. I'm going to omit the half diminished, which just goes right to the A7. And right there, you go right back down to before. Either that, or you could go to B flat. C says C sharp for the A7. That's correct. So that's where if we start on G, there's our C sharp.
Yeah.
So again, just, you know, you have 1 out of 3 chance of getting the right one. And in this case, we're starting on the 6th string root because of that F sharp. So we have F sharp dim for the D7, G minor 6, G minor 6. Oh yeah, well, let's hit this one. Let's do the G minor 6. We skipped that one. And then, can you get your ring finger here? And then get the. That way you can visualize this chord shape. Yeah, I always play this little riff. It's like a Charlie Christian song. And then, yeah, and then that helps a lot. And then if you want the 1st string, it mirrors the 6th string. So you do this, you know, you can visualize that. Really slow, yeah. yeah, the chord. Yeah. There you go. And here's the sixth. And then this is a big stretch here to do this too. But these little, that helps me quite a bit to get the diminished would be this.
Yeah.
Minor 6 would be this. This is a unique part of a unique chord, because here's B flat major, but this is flat 5.
Right.
B flat with the flat 5. Yes, but in context, we're actually starting on G,
Right.
and then you gotta do this. So I'm doing this, hit a G,
Right.
and then do this. And again, that's a big stretch. My hand is really getting in position there. Yes. So I would just do that for a minute. Just do this. That's actually, keep doing that. That's actually Miles Davis intro for Autumn Leaves.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually Nat Adderley's recording, but Miles is on it. That's what the bass does, Paul Chambers. Just a minor 6, but it's such an iconic riff if you're classic jazz. Yeah, so that's G. Yeah, see, that helps quite a bit, just doing this.
It really does.
Without having to worry about the 2 octaves. That's my term is easy arpeggios. What does that mean? Just 1 octave. So you have F sharp dim, G minor 6, G sharp dim, G dim, and that's the whole B section.
The B section.
Yeah, then you can do it up the next octave. Same idea.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, you know, if you're wanting to get all 6 strings, then you can do that as an exercise. Crossover. Yeah. So G minor 6. Let's finish with G minor 6. Yes. Here's it. Yeah, and this. Yes. Nice. Why don't you just practice that for a second? I like that you're going just right on the arpeggio. Yes, there you go. Yes. And it's nice just to have all the time in the world to just hang on G minor 6. Yeah. There you go. Oh, well, let's fix that. You got this, and then just end on the root. You know, the octaves. Nice. And I would probably get my ring there, because I'm gonna do this. Yeah. So just working out your fingering is nice. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna give you a C9 chord. G minor 6 sounds so good over C9. Yeah, that's one of Shanka's favorite techniques. Yes. Beautiful. Yes. I can also give you E minor 7 flat 5. Same 4 notes as G minor 6, just an inversion. Yeah, so if you had an E minor half diminished chord, as in Bossa Dorado, you could be thinking G minor 6. And then we diminish it, and that's where the strategies come in. You take the 2-5 and you diminish the minor 6. Diminish it. And here I'm doing that one version. And then you just got to work out these when you're going to cross over here, or you can do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you can either cross over here or here, and then cross over. Whatever is comfortable for you. But just again, just think about where you want it, whatever is comfortable for you to cross over. And then it goes there, and then it goes here, and I'm showing you with chords, and then back to here. So here's a B section for Bossa Dorado, thinking diminished subs in face value, but I'm gonna start on F sharp dim as a chord, just as a chord. Bossa Nova, and then G minor 6. G sharp dim. And then back to G dim, down to half step, because it's following. And that's it. And then we're back to D minor 6. Diminish it, diminish. Right on it, right on the root. And then G minor 6. Or, I mean, I'm actually doing the 2-5. Then diminish it. And then back to D minor. And top. This is with the diminished sub. Diminish it. Let's go to E half dim. Diminish it. And D minor. And down to half step. That's for 5. And top. Let's talk about this just to make sure you got it. So the D minor, we're doing the whole song now, but we're actually playing chords for the 5 chords.
Yes.
We're sorry, diminished chords for the 5 chords. And so we're playing chords, thinking what we're going to do for soloing. That's for E7. For E, the next chord is supposed to be E half dim. You have 2 options. You could go to E half dim or G minor 6. Yes. And then we're going to diminish it either way you choose. But let's go to E half dim. That means we're going to do this arpeggio probably. And then diminish it. So I'm actually doing the half dim. Which is minor 6, but I'm just not starting on G, so I forgot if you already know this, but we should work on this. Diminish it. D minor 6. And then I went down a half step, because I know that's the 5, and I could do diagonal. And then, you know, that will lead me to other places. Or so here we go. Check out my chords just once. I want you to copy me. Diminish it. 2 chord. I'm thinking numbers. Diminish it. 1. And then this leading tone. And the leading tone is just a half step below. That's a 7th degree. But it's the 3rd of the 5 chord. So everything's in the span of 3 frets. Half dim. Diminish it. And 1, and then I can do that, of course. You know, 3 frets.
Yeah.
You can do, or so you can kind of choose. Yeah, from here you can do this, or you can do this same thing, or you can do both. Diminish. And this will help you program yourself of when to use these diminish, which is every other chord.
Right.
Next time we'll go to the B. I'll show you just once. Diminish it. 2. This is going to go to the B section coming up. So I'm going to, right here, F sharp dim. I'll do it here on the 5th string. G sharp dim coming up for the E step. And then I'm going to do this. That's a simplification. So I just stay completely on the 5th string root. I went F sharp dim for the D7. G minor. G sharp dim. G dim. I didn't do the quick change there. I just did it so everything was 2 bars each. And then back to the 1. And that's the whole song. 2, 5, 1. Check it out high for fun. Every other chord is going to be the diminished. That's chord studies. That's really, to me, this is very important. But, you know, depending on what you want to focus on, chord improvisation, D minor 6, D minor 6, D minor 6, D minor 6, D minor 6. And then we diminish each one of those, which is just going to be this. Same shape. That's easy. G minor 6. Which is the same shapes as a D minor 6. You guys got to know, you know, where to place them, right? The theory of it, and then we diminish it and then back resolve to D minor 6. So those are the inversions that I really like to use quite a bit for chord soloing from you know whatever style, but this kind of like melodic comping. So you know you can have fun with your rhythm or just whatever you want to do, and that's just again diminishing it apart. So back to the arpeggio, because that's what we're really focusing on. But as you can see, you can start to do this when you're jamming with others. You can start to throw in the subs. Yeah, people might watch you go like, what chord are you playing? It's supposed to be E7, right? But you just do this instead, the diminished, and then that's the sound, you know, if you want to do that. Or again, I like to do the pipe. And I'll have to write this all out for this song. I don't have it written out for Bossa Dorado, but it really makes a beautiful study on minor 6. I think of them as minor 6, even though you might say that's a minor 7 flat 5, which, see this? That is this. Same 4 notes, but then it's G minor 6 if you think of it that way as an inversion. And these are the 4 inversions on the top 4 strings. And then the diminished is super easy. One shape, 3 frets each. You get 4 inversions of it. Anyway, so back to the arpeggios now. Actually, no, I want to see you do that with me once. A D minor for the whole song. Diminish it. Let's do it nice and slow. E half dim. Let's go and do the quick change. Because that's normally what you do if you're playing rhythm. And then instead of going to A7, you're just going to go to fully dim. Yeah. And D minor. And then down a half step diminish. And that's your, oh, a half step. That's the leading tone there. And then resolve it back to the 1. Diminish it. 2. Diminish it. And stay on the 1. B section, F sharp dim. G minor 6, chromatic. G sharp dim. And down half step. Yeah, that's the easy stretch. Okay, yeah. And you have to diminish it. And remember down a half step. Either you gotta choose down a half step for the 5 or up a whole step. It doesn't matter, they're the same. I like to go down a half step because I like to see this. I like to see C sharp dim for the A7. Yeah. Or this. Anyways, we can do the diagonal arpeggios. I know you want to do that too. It's all about arpeggios, is but if you understand the chords, and that's super important too, of why you're doing it. And by the way, just to clarify, I'm not doing D minor 6 for comping. I'm not doing that. I'm just doing D minor. Try it. You watch Gypsy jazz players; they're just doing D minor. But that'd be a little bit more colorful, maybe. So then I'm just doing a lot of the diminished sub on those dominants, and I did little inversions. So let's practice some more arpeggios if you're ready to do that. F sharp dim. Let's do it down here, then let's do it up here for the B section. Cross. Yes, yes, yes. And might as well hit that up. And then descend. Take it in 3 strings at a time. And then, great. And then do that again a few times. Just want to make sure you got it nice and slow. Just rubato, out of time, free time. Right there, get that flat. Just remember, you gotta go 2 frets each there. Yeah, so it's your fingering. I saw that you were on this finger. You have to actually plan your fingers like this. You have to, if you do this, then you have to shift, and that's really hard. Unless you want to just, you're going to be diagonal otherwise, you know what I mean? Right. At some time you got to shift that way if you want to stay in position. So that's why I keep doing this. That's just to demonstrate the chord in this. I mean, but it's a big stretch. That's all I'm saying to you. Stretch. Right, 2 frets each. Just remember that. Good. Stretch. Yes. Do that again slowly. Okay, stretch right here. 2 frets each. Yeah, you were here, but you should have been here. Well, see, if you're on this finger, you're not going to be able to get there.
Yeah, right.
But if you're on this finger, that's where I would continue diagonal. See, so I mean, in that case, you're just going to do this. Or you can cross over here. You have 3.
Okay.
I mean, you can cross over at any time. Or we can cross over here immediately. See, down there, if you want to. And that's, I recommend that you practice those different ways. But you're also, it could be confusing too. But look at the stretch either way. This one, here, same thing.
Yeah.
This one is probably the easiest if you cross over on the 4-3-2, and you get that. So do this with me for a second. One more diagonal. Now cross over. This shape. Yeah, hold that as a chord. Yes, that's what I mean by the crossover. When you cross over, because you get a chord essentially. You have these, which is not a chord, and that's a chord.
Yes.
And then once you're on here, so that's how we got here. Yeah, and they're all the same notes. So if you just listen to somebody play it, it's hard to tell. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of really slow it down and listen to the gauge of the strings. If it's brighter, it's probably the higher strings, and or you're on your guitar, the wound string versus a plain steel. You can listen to see what strings are on. Otherwise, it's hard to know exactly when whoever's playing when they're crossing over. But I kind of want to see what works best for you, to be honest. So like if you're like, hey, this is just better, then cross over on the 4th string like this. See, I just held the chord. And let's do this together. Yeah, that's the diminisher. Yeah. Hold chord right there. Hold it. I want to hear the whole chord. Visualize a triad.
Yeah.
This. It's that shape. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're on that and you're going to cross over, just hold it as a chord shape. So you have this, and just let it ring. Literally, let it ring. Yeah. Beautiful. So good exercise for you for this, because I think this might be the way you do it. I'm just moving it so that a little sweep picking too. But that way I can have this memorize this formation, and it works really well. Yeah. Did you get that crossover there? Now you're gonna go full. Well, careful now. Now that I see you do that, now you're gonna go full, and then you can cross over here on the 3-2-1 strings, and it's this shape. Yeah. So you can cross over anytime. You get all these crazy formations. So again, that's the beauty of the diminished, but it can also be kind of tricky. Basically, what I would recommend is that the formations. If you're crossing over, meaning creating a triad on the 3-2-1 strings, you get this shape. If you're on this 2-3-4 strings, you get this shape. And if you're on the 3-4-5, big stretch. If you're on the 4-5-6, same big stretch there.
Yeah.
So you have this. That's That's actually a good lick.
Yeah, it would be.
Let's see. And that's all it is. You can move it up 3 frets. I'll write that out. That's a good exercise. Again, I realize how confusing it can be. That's, I think, why a lot of players just are like, I'm just gonna do the diminished like this. But then you always end up higher, like, far from where you might want to be. But that's okay too. You're just gonna play your G minor 6 idea up here, and that could be a nice little lick too. And now I'm going to resolve. Now back to the 6th string. I'm just saying, like, if you're thinking these positions of arpeggios, F sharp dim, G minor 6, G sharp dim. Do I want to start here? Do I want to start here? I mean, just do this. And that was a little harmonic minor scale. Diminish it. We have so much fun. With these diminished patterns is really what it's all about. I like this exercise. I might have to write this one out.
Yeah.
And then do it here. And then here. Every 3 frets. And that will show you where to cross over. I'm not going to do it high. But that's a good exercise. I know you know the theory of it now. And I know you know these patterns. So it's just a matter of working out. But what I think is, and now I'm going to show you something that I think we should work on for the rest of the lesson, is just simplify. And just do it on 2 strings. Instead of trying to do it on 5 or 6 strings, just to do what I call the easy arpeggio, like one octave. So, for example, on the D7, just do it here. And then this, I believe I do have this written out, 1 octave. And then G minor 6. So F sharp dim, and again notice I'm holding the chord even. That really does help. The F sharp dim. Yeah. That's for the D7. Do that again. Add one more note to make it fully dim. Yeah, that's what makes it flat 9, by the way. And then G minor 6. Oh no, right here, just one off, just on the top strings. This is where most of the action happens for gypsy jazz players in Django too. They're on the top 4 strings. Yeah. Now let's go to do that again. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna go to F sharp dim. By the way, here's D, the root of the dominant chord, but here's the 3rd. But we're not going to do the fingering like that, even though I like that too. But we're going to do it like this. That's to help prep us to stay in position. Do that again. 3, 4. G minor 6. Resolve it. There you go. Beautiful. G sharp dim. That's for the E7. whole different pattern there. You went like this.
Yeah.
Triad chordal knowledge right here.
You're right.
On the 4, 3, 2 strings. I want to do this exercise. We're going to backtrack. G major, like this. And this is why I always stress like doing triads first on all the string sets, the 3, 2, 1, etc.
Yeah.
So this is 4, 3, 2. That's major. Minor is this. Ready? Diminish is this. You flat your 5. And again, it's just knowing the theory of this. Yeah. And back to major. And even though we're not going to use it right now, augmented is sharp 5. These are not inversions. This is just root positions. So we have major, minor, diminish, back to major. And if we need it augmented, yes. Okay, so that's, and then now we're going to add the 6th on. I'm going to show you something. So here's major 6. Here's minor 6. Oh yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what we just did. But if you think of it this way, major, minor, and then here's diminish. Diminish is called a diminished 7, but I think of it as a 6 chord. There's major 6, minor 6, and diminished 6, because it's still the 6th degree, and all we're doing is changing the minor to the flat 5. But notice you have to do it like this, and we're not going to do it this way. We're doing it like this, just so you can see that you flat the 5th, literally. So major 6. This is a good practice study. What would do again? Major 6. Good. No, not yet. Now minor 6. Lots of time. Do it twice. Okay. Now diminish 7, which is a 6, right? Yes, you got to work out those fingerings. Good. And major 6. This is a very important preliminary exercise. Yeah. Ready? Major 6. Low fast. Yeah. We want it so it's automatic. Minor 6. And the diminish. Yeah. And major. Beautiful. Ready again. Major 6. Minor 6. Major 6. Stay there, major 6. Move it up a whole step. Major 6. A whole step.
Oh.
Minor 6. And major, down a whole step, major 6. Back to G. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot right now, but back to G. I just took you through Lady Be Good, by the way. I just, was singing the song Lady Be Good for fun. So I did this. Oh, sweet and lovely, Lady Be Good. Oh, Lady Be Good. And then the 2. That's the A section. Oh, sweet and lovely. With some subs. I went, the second chord for Lady Be Good is C7.
C7, yeah.
But instead we just did G minor 6. So we did the major 6, minor 6, major 6. Then it goes to A7, but I just said A6. And I didn't say A7, just so we can keep practicing 6s.
Yeah.
6s are very neutral. That's something I learned just from Django and Charlie Christian, that style, because they focus so much on that 6th degree. If you think of the 6th degree on a dominant chord,
It's a 13.
thank you. It's a 13. It's a beautiful note. So you don't have to aim for that flat 7. Just play 6s. Minor it. That's where the D7. That's very Django. That's a A minor 6 against the D7, which creates D what?
9.
Yeah, and if you want a darker sound, you
Flat.
diminish it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So then you do A diminish. But it's a flat 9. You get flat 9. You're 100% correct. But I'm just saying, if you're doing the superimposing concept, the strategies, so you go A6, A diminished. That's for the D7 flat 9. and then back to G, G6. And then if you want to go back to the 5, just go back to the previous one. Diminish. Notice I shifted up my hand, and for practice, I'm just gonna not do any diminishes. That's the way to be good. Little bluesy, little Charlie Christianisms there. That's easy swing soloing. Once you understand a couple things, the strategies, because we're doing subs, you see C7, you're playing G minor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's easy, but once you understand it and can use it, then it makes your life easier because you don't have to think too many chords. You just think, I was thinking just G and A.
Yeah.
Off 1 and the 2. And I know I could do the 1, and if I minor in the 1, that's for the 4 dominant. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, the theory of it. And then for the A7, I'm subbing out A6 because it creates a 13, as he said. Let the band play the A7. I'm just focusing on the 13. You can add those chromatics and then minor it, and that creates a dominant 9, and then back to etc. So that's a beautiful strategy, I think, for Django, early Django, and Charlie Christian. That approach to a lot of those songs. That's what I would like to kind of just see you really get down as major 6, minor 6, diminished 7. When you want that, especially for songs like Bossa Dorado, because that's where I'm going back to this song, is that we want to do the diminished 7, or the arpeggio, minor 6. Sorry, guys. That was the strategy for the B section. Then D minor 6, I'm there. Diminish it. Now I'm on the top 3 strings. But I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about playing all those notes. I just want to keep it really simple solo. Only top 3 strings. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go to G here. Diminish. Diminish it. I'm gonna go up here. Now I'm not gonna feel bad about just sliding up, because that's so many guitar Django, so many guitar players, Charlie Christian, they just take these shapes as in the same shape. You don't have to really think. It's either here or here or here. You know what I mean? But once you get those shapes down, then we diminish it. That's the trick. Those little phrases. And again, I'm just kind of playing those same diminished melodic ideas. With chromatic, I went like this. And that kind of disguises this by going, or this. Nice little patterns, or this Charlie Christian would do, little melodic. So again, the Gypsy Jazzers, they want to do all the crazy runs and stuff. So it's just kind of a different school. You can find what you enjoy, but to me, as long as you get the strategies, that's probably the most important thing. And then start with the easy arpeggios. Just 1 octave is what I'm saying. So I know you want to do this, all of them. But I think if you just stay in 1 octave, that's 3 octaves right there. I just want, that's all you need to do. And then same thing with the diminished 7. And then here. Here. Okay, so that's the 3 octave, even though you could just do like this too. That's 3 octaves there if you want to do that run. So again, you know, just we got to figure out what works, and I'm just still thinking about this approach, this Charlie Christian style approach. Minor 6. Get your fingering, pinky, diminish 7, and then visualizing the chord. Yeah, that's the thing. You just got to make sure you get your pinky on there. Yes, that will help you get that stretch. And then back to major 6. 1, 2, slow, major 6. Minor 6. No, putting it back to later begin. Major 6. Go up a whole step, ready? Not yet, not yet. And then the 2 right here. Major 6. Minor 6. We want this to, and then down a whole step. Major 6. Up a whole step, minor 6. That's okay. And then back to the 1. Minor it. This gets, and then 1. Same thing. Stay there, stay there. 2, 6. Minor. Beautiful. Yeah. And 1. And then 2. Minor 6. Minor 6. Minor 6. That's a 2 dom.
Oh, minor 6.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. So I'm saying up a whole step. That's what I'm saying. Is I'm thinking off the 1 and the 2 for this. For the whole progression. We could do this on Exactly Like You. Take the A Train. So many songs again. You know, where you have that same kind of chord progression. Swing Chaton.
Yeah.
Minor 6. Let's do Swing Chaton for fun. Let's mix it up a little bit. How are we doing? So here, I'm gonna stop this. I don't know what's going on with my recording here.
Oh.
Oh no, I don't want to. It's asking me to join. Can we apply this to Swing Chaton?
Yes.
You know Swing Chaton, right?
I know the song, yeah.
Swing Chaton.
I don't know. I can't say that I know the chords offhand. So.
Well, you do because you know Bossa Dorado, and it's kind of a similar concept.
Okay.
So we have G minor. We're in the key of G minor though, so it's in a swing, not Bossa. So 2 dominant, A7, and then straight to the 5, D7. It's a simplified version. There's no 2 5 1s, and that's your A section. Let's do that again. Ready? G minor 6. A7, I'm going to diminish this. And then D7, I'm going to go down a half step. And back to home, G minor 6. Again, just that A section. And then down a half step. No, not for you.
Oh.
You could do that though, that'd be tritone sub.
Yes.
Sorry,
Okay.
You and me both. I was using the diminished sub. So if you did this, you went. Check this out. But go to the real 5, because you know what I mean. You can always do this tritone, and some guys do this. Adding the flat 5 in the bass. And the diminished is the same. Doesn't matter if you are on the real 5 or the tritone sub 5. The diminished arpeggio is still the same for both of them because the distance is a tritone. And that's what the diminished sub is all about. So check out this easy arpeggio, this kind of the study here. I did G minor 6, and this ties in exactly with Bossa Dorado. Got the 1. That's for the 1 chord. And then the next chord is 2 dominant. You're going to diminish the 1. So right on G, diminish it. Get your pinky there. And that's what I'm trying to have you do is get your pinky so it's automatic for the diminish. On the 4th string root. Again, it's just simplifying. So play the minor 6. And then diminish it. Thank you. Now you know you use your pinky. Beautiful. Down a half step. They're following the cycle. Diminish beat. And then resolve it back home. That's why we call it the leading tone, because it wants to go like this. Yeah, you might work on your finger there. Yeah. And I know you end it like this, and then look how I'm going to switch fingerings. I did shift back to this finger. You could do this, but I know I want to start on that finger typically. For the diminish, we want to start on this finger. Now, if you don't like to use your pinky, then you're going to have to do this. You know, you just have to modify it. Because think about what Django had to do probably for his arpeggios. And that's why I think he did the diagonal method for the arpeggios. Because crossing over, that'd be almost impossible to stay in one position for him to do that, besides using open strings. But here's swing jeton with that same method, the diminish substitution. Diminish it. Pinky. Down a half step. And back home. And that's the first 8 bars, A section. And again. Diminish it, coming up. Yeah, don't think too much once you get it, and then diminish it down a half step. And back home. That's okay if you make a mistake. Yeah. Again. And get ready to diminish it. Down a half step. I'm going to do it with chords, as I talk about, and back home. Again. We want to get so you're not even thinking about it, and you're still, well, you are, it's okay, diminish it, right? Now you're learning this right, down a half step. Nice, and then back home, leading tone. Nice. You can add those triplets, like, do, do, da, 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 do, and then back home. I'll do it with chords. Down a half step for the 5, the real 5, and resolve. I'll do it up high. And that's the things we want to practice it everywhere. Up here now. Keep going what you're doing. You can watch this later and do it in these other octaves. Nice. And back home. Okay, now I want to go back to Bossa Dorado. And let's do the same position so you can still work on the same shapes and not get confused by learning too many different shapes. Where's D minor up here? D should be here. Diminish it. Down a half step, diminish it. And resolve back home. Minor 6. Good. 1, 2, and I'm going to add a little bossa feel to you for you, but you can kind of swing it if you want, or you'll go by feel, but same strategy. That's what's important. 1, 2, 3, minor 6. Diminish it. Down a half step. Diminish. Yes. And top. Yeah. Nice. Down a half step. And resolve. Again. Practicing in different octaves. Same strategy. Down a half step. And nice. Yeah. Yeah. And add the little chromatic passing tones. Here's this is nice to go, you know, like this. That was that minor blues lick, the lick, right? But here it is here. And sometimes all you need is just, that was major 6, be careful. That's we just added a chromatic passing note. That's major. There you go, yeah. And then for the diminished, you can add 3 notes and do this. So you're going, and that's often usually played as a triplet. Da 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 da.
This one is called Bossa Dorado. That was Bossa Dorado, written by Dorado Schmidt. Well, I mentioned the blue skies earlier. We can't complain about this gorgeous weather, so this one is an Irving Berlin composition that we'll play for you. Thank you. Swing 42, Django Reinhardt. We're going to do a beautiful composition called Bossa Dorado, written by Dorado Schmidt. Thank you, Bossa Dorado.
Straight fours. Yeah. The straight twos. Let's lay the melody out.